Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Toon review. And once again, it is the four horsemen of the Toon. I'll bring the guys in shortly. Just going to be discussing, obviously, the debacle of last night. Steve Bruce, where we stand with him, and a few other Newcastle-related stuff. Some tweets from Lee Ryder, some comments from Steve Bruce, which are absolutely pathetic. Well, thank you very much for joining the live stream. If you are new to the channel, remember, do hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this on a rerun, then don't forget to smash the like button as well. I'll bring the guys in now. Good evening, everyone.
What are we doing?
Right. We'll start with you, Sharky. Last night, let's hear it.
Where do you start? Steve Bruce said the gloves were off. I'm going to do things my way. What's changed? Tactics were just what we've seen before. First half, we looked in the game. Arsenal didn't create a lot.
Yeah.
Dolo had to make some saves, looked solid at the back. But the second half, when you're playing two up front, second half, we didn't kick on. And a team like Arsenal, yes, they're mid-table, but not to forget they've got quality. And it's a rinse and repeat of last season. We're going 0-0. We collapse second half. And just, for me, I'm Steve Bruce out. I've been Steve Bruce out for months now, and I know more people are starting to catch on with it.
Yeah.
For me, it's just the same old excuses.
Do you think, I've seen a few comments, certainly across Twitter, that a lot of people, certainly sort of pundit-wise or even our manager-wise, said we were much improved in the first half considering the Sheffield United game. Do you think we were? Because I'm struggling to see where we actually improved, because we had that attacking formation and we just seemed to sit back and defend again.
From a defensive point of view, I would say so. But again, if you're playing 4-4-2, it's what you do in the final third. You know, you've got Carroll, you've got Callum Wilson, two focal points there. But the service just wasn't there. John Shelby was off his game. He was at walking pace, giving the ball away far too cheaply. I think we're massively mishearing yesterday in that midfield. I think he would have organised us. We might even have got forward. I just think some of his selections were all wrong. And when you play 4-4-2, I was happy that we went 4 at the back. But there was just certain individuals that I wasn't happy that were starting. But that's life under Steve Bruce, unfortunately.
Yeah. John, I was on obviously a watch along with you yesterday on an Arsenal channel. I joined in for the second half, and I've never seen you so emotional when the Arsenal was scoring and the rage kicked in. What was your view?
Well, I'm a cool guy, but I just get so frustrated when you don't deliver. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But listen. Again, I have to agree with Sharky. Again, they just didn't deliver. Again, I mean, it's just the same. When you play 4-4-2, you have to have two natural wingers. We didn't have natural wingers, didn't we? We have minimum to 10. Joelinton is technically a striker, really. But you should play Jacob Murphy in a 4-4-2. That'd be perfect for him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I would have played with Anderson as well from the start to see what he does. We're not going to win that game, so give him a goal. But the force conceded, man, it's an absolute joke. I mean,
tragic, wasn't it?
Look at the first goal again. It came from the corner, right? It's from the corner. And Shelby hit his first man. And then they allowed Partey to hit a 50-yard pass to Aubameyang. It was a beautiful pass, by the way. But Emil Kraft, it should be Emil Crap, not Emil Kraft. You know what I mean? I mean, he should have gone onto his left foot, but he didn't. He came in. Awful. It was a shocking defender, that man. And by the way, this guy, Kraft, he's being watched by a Turkish club. You know what? I'll drive him out. Don't worry about the money, right? I'll pay for that myself. He can just can. But it was poor goals, man. Poor goals.
It was terrible. Peter, obviously, I've seen your sort of quick thoughts and your play ratings and angry again, but we've every right to be, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, how can we be happy at this moment of time? I mean, getting fed this dross football from that cabbage idiot. It's so depressing. It's very frustrating. A change needs to happen immediately. We cannot persist with this manager still. Otherwise, we're only heading one way, and that is down to the championship. And
I think if anybody hasn't seen Peter's video, it is quite funny at the start because he actually has Steve Bruce tactics right in front of him and he rips them up and throws them over his head. It is a funny thing to be seen. And John, just prior to moving on, just a bit of a warning. That quote shall not be said tonight on this show. You know which one I'm talking about.
Careful.
The old sleeves. That's not getting said tonight.
Hey, I'm not gonna mention that R word. I'm gonna keep it.
Yes, exactly. Sharky, just talking about like being a Newcastle fan and seeing the football we're playing at the minute. I said on my review of the game that I can't remember being this down about supporting the club, even through some really rough times that we've been through in recent years under Ashley. I just think under Bruce and Ashley, it's worse than ever.
Yeah, I just think it's depressing when I watch each week. Nothing's improving, and he's coming out with these famous quotes of "I'm going to do this better. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try. I'm going to roll my sleeves up. I'm going to." No. I'm quoting Bruce, not me.
Yeah,
I'm quoting Bruce. Yeah.
I know you.
I'm quoting what he's saying, and he doesn't justify what he's saying. And what's the other one that he said? We're going to have a crack. You know what I mean?
Dust ourselves down. He mentioned
all that rubbish, and it's just like, you watch them, we've got no identity, and I look at it at the minute, and I'm not saying this to be over the top, but where's my next win coming from?
Aye, exactly. It's cliche stuff, isn't it, that he comes out with? John, by the way, I'm not doing it, John. I just want to point out his quotes. That's what he says, and he doesn't justify it. I think it's. I wonder if John actually uses that in his daily life now. To be honest, I think
you wouldn't catch me. You wouldn't catch me as a manager saying, "Let's roll our sleeves up. Let's try." I'd be getting that side. I'd be saying, "We've got a good side. Let's get at them."
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to show you right now. I will get onto your comments as well. We've had a few comments coming in, so we will get going on them shortly. But I just want to put up on the screen here in 2 seconds when I get. Geordie will comment on that shortly, mate. Just want to have a look at this because. These are the sort of Steve Bruce quotes last night from from getting interviewed by Lee Ryder. I'll start with the top one there. Asked if there were harsh words at full time, Steve Bruce said, "Whatever is said remains in the dressing room. It stays there, but there weren't any harsh words." I mean, Peter, if you were manager, would harsh words be said?
Well, yeah, it's got to be. I mean... This manager's just making it up as he goes along now.
Yeah.
I'm sick to the back teeth of it.
Yeah.
And that's why he needs to go and do one now.
I couldn't believe that he came out with that there was no harsh words said. John, what would you have said if you'd have been the manager going in the dressing room at full time, seeing that second half performance?
What I'd lock him up for an hour, and there's harsh words going to be put in there as well. And you know what it is? I mean, I will say to them, "You're costing me my job here," sort of thing. I'll give you attacking football, and you give us a performance like that. If you don't want to play for us, please just say, "I'll whack on the transfer list." But at the end of the day, guys, I agree with Peter, or PD, I'll call him, that he makes it up as it goes along. And, it's just different things. It's the same old dross every week.
Yeah,
I mean, this is what I will say is as well, this is a manager, right? It was under pressure and the cracks are appearing.
They definitely are, Sean. I mean, this picture of Bruce sums him up just properly, really, doesn't it? I mean, just the pout and the man looks completely clueless, Sharky. And, saying that there was no anger in the dressing room or anything like that, just says to me exactly what it's like under Steve Bruce. That it's all a big pals act in that dressing room, or the players just disrespect them that much they just don't say anything anymore.
My understanding with Steve Bruce is that he doesn't have any control of the dressing room. I think it's the total opposite way around. The players, they do what they want to do, and they do what they want to put into practice on the pitch, and that's how we're seeing it. The attitude of the players is all wrong. I think the attitude of the manager's all wrong, and the attitude of the board is all wrong. When you put all that together, you're not going to drive your club forward. There's only one way we're going. As Peter said, we're going down. It's just the lack of organisation, the lack of understanding. I mean, the silent treatment that we're getting as well from the board is just ridiculous. Yes, I understand we're in a pandemic and not much can change, but when you're in a situation we're in, with no win in 9.
An old cliche is like the noise coming from the boardroom is deafening, isn't it, really? But it's terrible.
Skeleton.
Anyway, the next one, he said, there you go. We have to dust ourselves down, get that confidence back, and try and win games whenever we can. For me, how are we supposed to get the confidence back when we're playing as badly as that? and he plays. You know, to be fair, when I saw that team lineup last night, I thought, oh wow, he's going for it. He's, you know, as he said, the gloves are off. We're actually going attacking. But then the game kicks off, and it's clear that we're going all defensively again, Peter.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Steve Bruce. He wants to provide this dinosaur style of football, and we'll go to pieces completely.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's unbearable to watch now.
Yeah. And then he comes out with, he was asked about his position by Match of the Day. I am trying to do the best I possibly can, as always, but you will have to ask others about that. So, Sharky, what do you think he means by that?
Lee Charnley. That's the first name I think of, because Lee Charnley is the difference between Steve Bruce either keeping his job or losing the job. Mike Ashley would know he doesn't have a footballing brain. He leaves all the work to Lee Charnley, and it's up to him. He believes that Lee Charnley is going to keep him on because he's the cheap option, and because he's the cheap option, it's going to help out Newcastle United. As long as the club are above 18th place, then he's going to keep his job. It's as simple as that. But if any, owner had a decent brain cell in there, which Mike Ashley and Lee Charnley don't between them, then they would have made the change long before now. You probably would have made it after the Brentford game. If you're going out to Brentford reserves, then I'm sorry to say you deserve to lose your job. But on the current form, it can't be denied. After winning 9 games in all competitions, it's shocking.
Yeah. It is terrible at the minute. I mean, I agree with the Brentford situation. I think after we were beaten by them, that was a huge low point. And I think a new manager coming in then would have maybe given them a kick up the arse that they needed at that particular time, rather than it just seems to be a chain reaction going down and down and down, and the performances are not getting better. The team is just looking devoid of any ideas. I mean, what really, really paid me off last night, I have to say, and John will remember this because I commented on it halfway through the second half, when we're even 1-0 or 2-0 down, I was counting between 5 to 7 seconds that the Arsenal players had that ball in the midfield just to play it around without any pressure from any Newcastle player.
Can I just say something, Paul?
Yeah, go on.
I was about to put in there. I said it against Sheffield United, and I've said it the other day. It's like a training session. We're non-existent at these clubs. It's too easy. We're too predictable to play against, and when it's like a training session, then it's like that daily routine. Do you know what I mean? We're that bad at this moment in time. I think we're like the worst in terms of like Premier League form. And right now, it's only because we picked up the results beforehand is the reason why we're clear of West Brom and Fulham. But it's only a matter of time before we're cut.
Yeah, it is. John, obviously, we were both getting annoyed last night when we were watching it in the second half. The lack of passion, the lack of commitment. Where does it start with the tactics that Steve Bruce employs to the players actually trying themselves and maybe not doing it for the manager, but doing it for the club, doing it for the badge, doing it for the fans? Because the second half that we saw last night, there was no passion there in the second half for anything.
Relegation football, mate. Relegation football. Because if that's their attitude, right, for me, Shog just said earlier on, the manager's got no control of the players. To me, that's a weak manager. And Charlie doesn't want to say no. That sounds like a weak CEO. So the whole structure of the club is absolutely wrong. It's really wrong. But going on to the pitch in the second half, the players, their heads are dropping. And we said it many a time. If they go behind, the heads dropped. You know what I mean? They got no leadership, no passion, no drive. And if you haven't got that, then you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't know what was said at half time in that dressing room, Peter. For us to come out the way we did and just look devoid of anything from the second half starting. Sometimes we've looked at Newcastle games and we've seen them start the second half quite strongly, look as if they're going to do something and it all goes to pot. But last night, Peter, they came out for the second half and it went to pot immediately.
Well, yeah, it did. And as soon as Arsenal got the first goal, you knew what was going to come straight after that. And that was more goals from Arsenal immediately. You can tell. We're making Aubameyang look brilliant when he's been way off form this season. Well, the market was dreadful, but he's been way off form, and we made him look back to his best as well. And that's Saka. That I told you that was a player we had to watch out for.
Yep, you did, yeah. I mean, I think I don't understand what Emil Kraft was doing for the first goal. I mean, yes, don't show him onto his right because we know he's right-footed, but I was thinking Lascelles did it quite well in the first half. He thought Aubameyang went against him, and Lascelles forced him further wide on his left, but Kraft just let him run straight at him and run past him. It was just like he just said, "Oh, there you go, have a shot with your left and see if you can score." I just don't understand, Sharky, the defensive tactics or what Steve Bruce is doing with his defense. This guy was a defender under Alex Ferguson, and he can't seem to coach any defenders.
I just think it's chopping and changing. There's no real identity, as mentioned. If you go back to the game in the first goal that Aubameyang scored, it was down Arsenal's left-hand side, and we struggled all second half, all left-hand side. Sorry, all right-hand side. But it's a case of when Aubameyang picks up that ball from Partey, he's got all the time in the world just to drive towards Kraft, and not for once does he put a tackle in. And for me, that's shocking at this level. You've got to put some sort of challenge in. The second goal, I think Jamal Lascelles is also a fault. He's got to get closer.
That was terrible, that. He just seemed to let him just dance past him, didn't he?
Do you know what, though, John? Sorry, Paul. I think I'm being critical, but you know what? The 3 goals that Arsenal scored yesterday, all 3 goals are preventable at this level, and we're just so bad at doing it. And you say Steve Bruce is a defender. I get that, but you can't put that into your management. You've got to change things up, surely, in order to get the best out of the squad that we have. I mean, if Rafa can do it, with next to no money, next to no investment, Steve Bruce, who's had the investment, can surely get the best. No, he can't, because he's not, at this level. But it's frustrating, man. The goals that we concede, it's just the basics in football.
Exactly. Did anyone of you see the comments from Jack Grealish earlier on today on Twitter about being managed by Steve Bruce?
I actually saw the tweet.
Yeah.
What did you say?
It's the training. Basically, what he said was, the training under Steve Bruce was like an under-9 session. All he did was come along and throw the ball into the middle and say, "Right, lads, get yourself away." Grealish actually said, quoted,
"Is that what he said?"
Yeah. It was like an under-9s training session. I mean, what chance do we freaking stand?
Paul, and this is what we've got to deal with week in and week out.
Exactly. And
point proven.
He's not going to lie, is he? You know what I mean? He's not going to come out and just
How
make
good
it
have
up.
Aston Villa been since he's left?
Oh, well, they've just risen, haven't they? Like a phoenix. But it's just, I couldn't believe what I was reading. And then
under 9s game, is that what he said? Wow.
That's what he felt like. It was an under 9s training session because Steve Bruce just came threw it into the middle and said, "Right, lads, let's have a game." And he said there was, what are we supposed to do? That is exactly his management style. Is
garbage, utter garbage, mate.
Tactics are non-existent. There's no strategies there. And for Jack Grealish to come out and say that, he's not going to make it up, is he? You know what I mean?
You got to be honest as a professional. I give him credit. You've got to be honest and say it as it is.
But he was obviously very, very frustrated under Steve Bruce, so it's understandable that now he's not there. He feels free that he can speak out about it, and he knows what. I think it's something that, I don't know whether it was something to do with the Newcastle United came up in a conversation, and he said what it was like under Bruce as manager. But Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's have a look at the comments. We've got plenty to go through. Geordie says, "Evening, see that the odds are Eddie Howe 3-1, Rafa 4-1, Mark Hughes, ladies and gentlemen, 6-1, and Nigel Pearson way out at 16s. For me, I don't know why Pearson is not a favourite, because I think a lot's been said about Nigel Pearson, not just with us four, but other channels, other on Twitter as well. He does get a mention. I don't think Eddie Howe's going to come. I think that's a long shot, because I can see him actually going to Celtic, and Jason said that in the next comment. Mark Hughes has been mentioned today. John, what are your thoughts on the great Mark Hughes?
One dinosaur to another, mate, I guess. I mean, he haven't managed for 2 years. That is why are we going for managers or players for that matter for a couple of years? It's just like getting a player on the season on a 6-month loan, right? They haven't kicked a ball for their club for about a couple of years and treat us as a training exercise. You know what I mean? Pieces exercise. Yeah. I would not. No way I wouldn't have used an Eddie in my club. He's a dinosaur. He's past it. We want young, fresh managers. Eddie Howe would be perfect, but I kind of see him coming. Thomas Frank would be perfect. He won't leave Brentford. Yeah. Nigel Pearson, I have him. We've all been here before. Get him into the end of the season. Just a short-term thing until this takeover happens, and then getting a pop-up. Yeah. We need to be in this league this season. If we don't, we had our chips.
Yeah, true. Peter, what do you think? What do you think of Mark Hughes being mentioned today?
To me, that's not an upgrade. I mean, as John's just said it, you're going from one piss poor manager to another, pretty much. I mean, there's a reason why Stoke, he got the boot from Stoke, he got the boot from Southampton. There's a reason why Man City didn't keep him on when they got their takeover as well. So to me, Mark Hughes, no chance for me.
Sharky, what do you think?
If you'd asked us a month ago, I would have said no. But then if you look at the mess we're in now under Steve Bruce, I'm actually going to say yes. I would actually give him a chance.
Wow, I didn't expect you to say yes to Mark Hughes.
No, hear us out. People are judging him on his last year at Stoke City. When you think about it, a lot of his better players left. And in the 4 years that he was at Stoke City, right, a club like Stoke, he got them 9th place, was it 3 times back-to-back? That's a good achievement for them. And you think about us as a football club, right, under Mike Ashley, the minimal expectation is mid-table football. We want a bit of hope. We want to play some good football. Now, I'm not saying for one, the Mark Hughes football is fantastic, but it can't be any worse than Steve Bruce. And Eddie Howe, he's been linked with Celtic. If he was going to come in, do you think he's going to come in under Mike Ashley? It's difficult to say. Mark Hughes, for me, I mean, if he's out of work and he's looking to get back in, if you're looking to try and steady the ship and get a tune out of the players, then I would say Mark Hughes, for me, he's probably the only outstanding one that I'd look at. I would say also Nigel Pearson as a shout as well. But I think this one, if you look at Mark Hughes, it's got Newcastle written all over it. If he doesn't get a result against Villa or in the next few games, don't be surprised if he gets the job. But if he did get the job, by the way, I would actually get behind him, because at the end of the day, he's not Steve Bruce. He's probably not like one of them where, he's excuse after excuse. And I don't know, I think at the end of the day, who are we going to attract under Mike Ashley? And the takeover, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee yet. But do you know what? I'd take anyone up to now. Anyone but Steve Bruce.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, Pearson would be my favourite to get the job, but
I would give him it. Do you know what? Listen, I'll give Pearson the job, right? Yeah. But if Pearson didn't want it, then Mark Hughes can't be any worse than Steve Bruce. Surely not. No,
I don't think there's anybody can be any worse. But it's a shout, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, any new manager that we get, I'll give him my backing. As a supporter, you've got to give whoever comes in a chance. You can't just say. They're going to fail. Yes, we've got our opinions on the managers. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people with different opinions. John said there, he wouldn't have Mark Hughes, but you would. And I think that's where everybody's different. But I think we all could come together and back a new manager, but especially after what we're all going through, no matter
Can I just say as well, though? I think you would take Mark Hughes, given the circumstances that we're in. Who would you rather listen to, Mark Hughes or Steve Bruce?
Hughes 100% every time, undoubtedly. I think Hughes has got a bit about him, and I think Mark Hughes seems to me the type of guy that wouldn't take any shit from the players.
No, he wouldn't.
And he would have discipline just like Nigel Pearson would. He wouldn't stand for some of the laziness on that pitch that we saw last night. And we've got to be honest, there was a lot of lazy players on that pitch, who, we can have a go at Steve Bruce all we want, but there was a lot of just terrible laziness and just not giving a shit last night.
Players not taking accountability for their own bad performances, but not just that, though. The manager, he's not taking accountability. I think if Mark Hughes was given the job, I think he would definitely say as it is. You seen him at Stoke City when I was down actually at the Britannia Stadium. We beat them 1-0. And that was pretty much his last Premier League game. And he come out and said a few harsh words to the media about what was going on in the background. But I'd like to see that from a manager like Mark Hughes or even a Nigel Pearson. But don't get me wrong. Listen, if it had been a month ago, I would have said no to Mark Hughes. But the way it's going at the minute, we need a fresh voice. We need new ideas. And if he can come in and steady the ship short term, why not?
I mean, he didn't do that badly at Manchester City, did he? Because it was at Man City when the takeover happened and it was all sort of...
Paul have got loads of money. They're not going to want Mark Hughes anymore. They're going to attract the best managers. They've got Pep Guardiola now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Good evening, Jason. How will go to Celtic? Probably. Kieran, good evening to you. Jason says, you have to give credit to Steve Bruce. The way he manages to remove 99.9% of the entertainment from a football match is almost impressive. Yeah. I mean, I think 99.9% of the Newcastle fans are just fed up with watching the same old after every game. Like I said last time, I don't listen to Sky before the game because I just cannot be bothered. Apparently, Carragher and Neville said some interesting stuff after the game, some quite good analysis. But I just switch on at kick-off time and then I don't have to listen to Steve Bruce, to be honest, because it's just a nightmare. Geordie says, anyone seen the Twitter video going around about a new player being at St James's Park yesterday? Who do you think it is? Fingers crossed it's Jetro. I've seen this on Twitter today, and apparently it was taken from the rooftop of the stadium. Somebody being shown around the pitch. Everybody saying it could possibly be a new manager or a new signing. Somebody even said it could be Bentaleb coming back. John, any thoughts on? I don't know whether you've seen it, but any thoughts on it?
I've got to be honest with you. I didn't know because I've been at work today and I got no idea. But I think I've seen a tweet from Adam Pearson, and I think he's out, and I don't know who it was, and got no idea. But I hope it's a new manager before the playouts.
I mean, to be honest, it could be anybody. You know, it could be a groundsman getting shown around the pitch, just tell him where he's going to be. You know. Draining the pitch or whatever, you know what I mean? It could be absolutely anybody. Have you seen the video, Peter?
No, I haven't actually.
No, Sharky, have you seen it?
I have, and my instant reaction was, I think it's ASM just maybe talking about his battle with you know what, and maybe how difficult it's been for him, and just from the hairstyle, I could be completely wrong. No, but how much of it is. To
be honest, I thought that if you look really closely, there is a glimpse of ASM about him.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
He's not even on the shirt, so it's got to be ASM. Has to be.
Yeah, it's for me. I don't think it's a new signing. I certainly don't think it's a new manager at this stage. But
Mike Ashley, money, you're joking.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is the half the trouble with Newcastle. This is what it's come to now. Somebody sitting on the stadium roof doing maintenance, and then suddenly see somebody walking around the ground. Oh, let's get a video of that because it could be a new signing. But this is what fans have. This is all we've got.
I mentioned this in our group chat earlier on. It's the tiniest smidgen, a little bit of information, a little bit of hope, because there's now to cling on to at the minute.
Yeah, totally agree. Kieran says it's so depressing being a Newcastle fan right now with this management. Yes, I think it's been depressing for quite some time now. Thomas 321, evening everyone. Good evening, Thomas. Liam says, I said to a Newcastle fan, I don't want to watch Newcastle no more, but feel like I've got no choice because it's like a job. It is, for me, I don't care how bad it is or whatever, I'll still watch them. You know what I mean? I will still watch my club because that's exactly who they are, Peter.
Well, yeah, you watch them because you love them, you support them. It's in your blood. It's your religion. But yeah, I can totally understand where you're coming from.
John, it's tragic, isn't it? I mean, John, would you ever, not watch Newcastle?
Well, I haven't been watching Newcastle since Rafa Benitez left. I'm not gonna lie, because of my work commitments as well. So
yeah,
I love Newcastle, and if I get a chance to watch them, I will go and support the lads the best I can. And yeah, I love Newcastle, but at the minute, the Newcastle we're seeing now is not the Newcastle I love, because the way they've all set up. And is this the worst Newcastle team I've witnessed? It's very close, but you've got the worst manager at the minute. So
yeah. Sharky, is there a time where you wouldn't watch them?
Well, I boycotted last season, didn't I? That was because of what happened with what the owner did to Rafa Benitez. I thought the treatment was shocking. I said I'd boycott the full season, not because of Bruce technically. It was just down to the way the owner was going on. I wasn't willing to give him any more money. But then that was a season, but you still miss it. I did go to a couple of away games. I did just boycott the home games. I went to Leicester and West Ham. But I had plans to go this season, but I look at it now and I think, what have I missed? What have I missed? But no, I just think even if I'm listening to the game or watching it on TV, I have to find ways of watching the lads, because for me, it's my big moment in the week. Especially if you've worked and you've had a busy week and you want to watch something and get behind the team and put your anger out on the pitch, just to get behind the lads and support them. But it is. But like you've said, it's depressing.
Well, I gave my season ticket up. After Rafa left, I must admit, I jacked it. I thought, I'm black and white through and through, but I can't understand what's going on at this club anymore. And, there was no sort of, I was looking into the future thinking, God, this is just bleak. But having said that, since COVID's hit, I want my season ticket back. You know what I mean? I'll be one of the first in the queue when they become available again, and when we can go to games, I will get my season ticket back. So I will be going back. But even if Steve Bruce is there, but the thing that I miss about the match is just meeting everyone at the match, having a good laugh with your pals and stuff like that. I mean, it'd be great to meet up with you guys before the match and things like that, and but we can't do that in a minute, and that's what I miss. I miss getting on the train from Durham to Newcastle and walking up to the stadium and just the daft things that you do. You walk the same way to the stadium. You go to the same shop for your bag of chips and stuff like that. It's just stuff that you miss, and you don't really realize how much you miss it until it's
John,
not there.
Paul, can I just mention something? I keep saying John because I remember John. I was on your stream last time. Paul, do you know what it is? That's why, like under Alan Pardew, if you remember that 11-12 season, and then by the 12-13 season in the Europa League, and fans weren't actually going to the Europa League games until we got to like the later rounds. And I'm thinking, like, why are you not like going to these games when we've had our best football in the Mike Ashley era, and we're in European football, we're never going to get Europe again under Mike Ashley. It's been proven like 8-9 years down the line that it was probably the right decision to watch all these games, because they only come every so often. Like, we've not had a really good Premier League campaign since 11-12. Do you know what I mean? That says it all.
Exactly. I mean, I went to the first rounds of the League Cup, when we're playing the minnows, and even when the ground was half empty, I used to take me little lad, and he's only 8 now, but he's not. He's actually saying to me, "Dad, why aren't you going to football at the minute?" And he doesn't quite understand all the COVID stuff, But it used to be brilliant.
Bruce is the manager.
Yeah, exactly. It was like me and me little lad. He loved going on the train and would get, McDonald's or Burger King or whatever it be before we went to the ground. And so even when we were playing the littler teams, it was still a night out. I just miss it all, really. I just hope all this COVID crap goes away soon, to be honest. Paul Jackson, evening lads, evening Paul. How are you doing, mate? Liam says, and I never ever thought I would say that even under previous managers. You're not the only one, to be honest, Liam. I think we've said on here that a lot of people have decided now to go and watch non-league stuff instead of watching Newcastle on the telly. Non-league stuff is, I mean, Sharky and Peter, I've seen you guys do vlogs from non-league games, and you've really enjoyed it.
It's great. Honestly, George, you know what it is? There's a lot.
It's really worth going to as well. You watch them. They like to play for that club. They like to give 110% as well. And you go them show a bit of support, particularly when you see a lot of non-league clubs that have been struggling, either because of the pandemic or they've gone out of business completely. But I really enjoy going to them.
Yeah. I mean, my dad goes to watch Spennymoor. He says he thoroughly enjoys it. It's like, I mean, he's Newcastle United through and through as well, but he's just, I mean, he's been fed up with the situation for a long time. I mean, he's been going since, 60s. And, it's from when St. James's Park used to be sort of packed to the rafters and stuff like that. And I just think a lot of people are turning their backs, and you can't really blame them, if they don't want to watch Dross every single week. It's just such a big shame what's going on. It really is. Rockstar1, good evening to you. At this rate, I'd be glad to see John Carver back as manager. Steady the ship.
Lick me lips. I lost 8 games in a row. I'm the best coach in the Premier League.
Yeah. Rockstar, I think you're on your own with that one, mate. But, everyone has an opinion. We're not going to... Jason says Hamza Chowdhury, the very same who put Matt Ritchie out for a while, is Steve Bruce's main target and believes him to be the answer to our midfield problems. How does he improve us along with left back Brandon Williams? Well, Brandon Williams isn't coming because Solskjaer's already said he's got a future at Man United. As for Chowdhury, yes, he's definitely linked. I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure about his discipline on and off the pitch. I for one, don't like his haircut as well. But if does he come in and strengthen our midfield, John?
To be honest with you, I heard of the name, but I don't know a lot about this guy too much. But I think you do with anyone in a minute that's got legs and can create. That's what you're looking for. But if he does either of those, I'd take him if he does either of those. I don't know a lot about this lad, but I know he's tough. I know he's a bit strong in the tackles and that sort of thing. That's what we need. Yeah, we need tacklers in the midfield. We don't tackle the team. That's the problem. We need someone who's going to tackle, and I think this guy could.
I know we spoke about obviously some of the transfers last week, but is Chowdhury somebody that you think would improve us, Sharky?
Improve would be difficult. Like John said, it wouldn't be any worse than what we've got now. It would just add a bit more competition, wouldn't it, in terms of what we'll have?
Yeah.
You know, it's just when you look at John Joe Shelby, Hamza Chowdhury can't be any worse. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like on loan, when you think of a player on loan, you're taking a chance, and if they don't play well, it's not your player. You just get rid of them, don't you? Do you know what I mean? So bringing him in, he wouldn't solve all of the problems, but he would be sort of a welcome addition for, you know, what's going to be a very difficult, 5-6 months left of the season.
Definitely. Peter, what's your opinion of Chowdhury? And Shelby last night, for me, he blew a massive opportunity for me. It was his chance to stand out and be counted. And the fact he was captain made it even more embarrassing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of worst Shelby's games I've seen playing for this club. I mean, 2 of his corners, I remember, couldn't beat the first man.
Yeah, right. They were absolutely abysmal, weren't they?
Hamza Chowdhury, again, don't know a hell lot about him. If we did bring him, the concern would be, or the question you would ask, is he going to get ahead of the likes of Isaac Hayden? That's the thing I want to see.
But he can't get in the Leicester team at the minute, though. He can't get in the Leicester team at the minute, can he? So, you know, what's he going to bring to us?
Yeah, I think if we bring him in, I think he'll be sitting on the bench far too much.
See, do you know what? I do think he will get in the side. I really do. And you think of the goal he scored past us last season, that's what he's capable of doing. You know, having shots up like outside the box.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what happens with that in the next few days, because obviously time's very limited now as to the window and everything. So it'll be interesting to see. Thomas says Bruce will turn into a meme. I know it will happen. Oh well, I've seen a few memes about Steve Bruce already, and I'm certainly not going to play them on my channel. I'll be barred for life off here. Paul Jackson said heard something earlier that Marcelino could be interested in a new job. He's managed in Spain, hasn't he? But you what, John?
I think he's at Bilbao. I think he's just. If that's the manager, I think it's at Bilbao.
Yeah.
If that's the manager,
Can't see it.
No, not for me. I think for me, it's the same Marcelino that played for us that's now a manager, isn't it? So it's for me. I think everything you need to know about a man was when he played for us. Do you remember him being out with a broken finger for God knows how long it was?
Honestly, do you know what? This has honestly got more cues written all over it. It really has. Yeah. He's just waiting in the wings for Steve Bruce to lose a few more games, and then what they'll do is the next thing to Steve Bruce will just give him a job. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, you can read Newcastle United like a book when it comes to
easy.
It comes to things that have happened. Roxy says you could put Messi, Mane, Salah, De Bruyne, and Haaland in the team, and we'd still be shit under Bruce. I don't think we'd be shit. I think they would probably just laugh off his tactics and play their own game, which I think we should have done a long time ago anyway. With the players we've got now, they should have all just turned around and said, "Look, we're not doing this anymore. We need to look. We are being made to look absolutely terrible as individual footballers and a team." So, you know, I think I would love to have those kind of players in our team and somebody call us shit, to be honest. Liam says, looks like we'll be getting Mark Hughes if we sack Bruce. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be picking up pace, John.
Yeah, it's gonna look that weird. But again, would I take him? I know you've got your own opinions on him, but I wouldn't have him. Honestly, I mean, you've got to be in the game regularly, sort of thing. He's been out of the game for 2 years and a bit.
See, Sam Aldi's got in as well. Okay, whether he keeps West Brom up, that's a different thing. But do you know what it is? I don't like to judge a manager too quickly, because I remember doing the same thing with Alan Pardew. I was devastated when Chris Hughton lost his job. And Pardew was part of like League One Carlisle and Southampton and whatnot, and won the Johnson Trophy. And I'm thinking, well, why we're bringing in Pardew? Like, he's no good. But to be fair to him, you know, he got with mid-table, Chris Hughton's season, and then the season after that, he got with 5th. And people will say, well, it was a fluke. You know, it wasn't. The table doesn't lie. He nearly got with Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And we played some more better football. You know, we talk about like Ben Arthur, Demba Ba, Johan Cabaye, Gutierrez, that was a good moment under Mike Ashley's era, and that was built by Pardew. And I don't believe for one that he was ever backed. All the transfers were behind his back, and he had to gel these players together, and he got the best out of them. Okay, it was always going to end badly at the end, but I just think I like to get behind the manager, and I just think anyone at this moment in time is better than looking at Steve Bruce's press conferences. He's awful.
I don't remember Alan Pardew ever slagging the fans off. He had his moments, but my personal opinion on Pardew was I didn't mind the bloke. I didn't have a problem with Pardew. Yes, it ended badly, but it was always going to happen that way because of some of the build-up from some of the fans towards the end. But for me, I think Pardew did a decent job given the restraints that he had. People go on about Steve Bruce not being backed. He has been backed. But Pardew, like you say, Sharky, the players were coming through the door, and the first thing Pardew would know about is when they turned up at the bloody training ground.
Paul, the football was it was hoofball, but he was attacking sides. You know what I mean? Like we finished fifth, and you got Europa League quarterfinal, and the stats don't lie. Yes, it ended badly, but what manager at Newcastle does it not end badly? Look at Rafa Benitez in the end; he had a plan, it got dashed. What happened to cover? Awful manager, just poorly. Bad recruitments, but Pardew for me could be in a very similar situation to Mark Hughes. He could get the job, but fans could judge him too quickly, and he could do something. Do you know what I mean? He's had 2 years out of the game. I would prefer a manager to be out of the game for a couple of years to assess, what they've done and make them think, and maybe he's ready for that challenge. But listen, I'm all for fans who don't. Sorry,
he's not that old, Mark Hughes, is he?
No. Listen, I think he's been out for 2 years, right? I'm all for managers who want to come back in after a couple of years to show that they are willing to, to have a go again, and they've recharged the batteries. I don't like managers that come into jobs after 6 months of being out. Do you know what I mean? A couple of years, fair enough, go again. That's my point. By the way, I'm not against people who don't want Mark Hughes. If they do, that's absolutely fine. I get that completely. But I think 2 years out of the game is more than enough time.
Yeah, everyone's got their opinions. John, just to ask you, what is it about Mark Hughes that is swaying you to not wanting him as manager?
Well, the thing is, football for me, this is my personal view, but football's kind of moved on, and what I want to see is a young managers coming into the game, give them a chance. For me, I take how do I put it? Go for a Thomas Frank, obviously 47, 48, young, talented. I'll give him a try. Someone's going to come in and play great football. But going back to Mark Hughes quickly. To be fair, right, when he was at Stoke, he had some good players there. And Arnautovic, he had good. Bojan is good. He had a couple of good players over there as well that played for him. And the football there was really, really good. But the players, they had to sell his best players. And Mark Hughes didn't have a chance to recover from that. That's why he was sacked, because he couldn't bring it back. But at the end of the day, would I give him a chance? What I would say is, if it came, like you guys have been saying, you got to give him a chance, I guess. Yeah. But he's here. There's not what you can do about it. You just got to do the best you can. Get just behind the guy, You got to give him a chance.
Do you know what though? I could listen to Mark Hughes every week rather than listen to Steve Bruce. At least I get an understanding of what he wants to do. Do you know what I mean? He would talk in a press conference. He'd build up a game. He'd say, right, this is what we're going to do on the Saturday or the Sunday or midweek. With Steve Bruce, it's I'm going to try. That's not good enough. Where are you getting try from? You know what I mean? You're meant to be a manager, head coach. You're meant to be getting it side saying, you know what? We're going to go for it. As I mentioned before, we're Newcastle United Football Club. We're not Sunderland in League One. We're Newcastle United Football Club.
Well, Hughes certainly wouldn't big up the opposition, would he?
No.
What's your thoughts on Hughes?
Me or John?
Peter.
I just have that worry. He's not an upgrade. That's my concern about him.
Yeah.
I think he's quite arrogant a lot of the time. I've seen it in his press conferences. And
I like that. Well, I like it when managers, they tell the media, they say this, that, and the other. I like it. It just goes to prove that they do care. But if the players aren't pulling their weight, if the manager's going to come out and say that, the players need to understand where the manager's coming from. Steve Bruce, I feel like our players get an easy ride, as Paul mentioned, they do.
Yeah. But I think I've seen Mark Hughes press conferences where he's trying to blame it on others and not himself at times as well. So that is my concern. I just have with Mark Hughes. Unfortunately, I just don't think he's an upgrade.
That's fair enough. Everybody's got their opinion. That's what it's all about. Liam says the sooner Mike Ashley goes and buys Ipswich, which is rumoured, the better. I've seen that rumour, but I think there'll be a bit of a backlash at Ipswich if they find out.
They're already going through a bad time as it is. They don't need Mike Ashley for another 10 years of that.
God almighty. Bless them. Anyway, Jason says, do you remember when Rafa left? Lee Charnley stated he wanted to bring in a manager with the same calibre as Rafa. Enter Steve Bruce. WTF.
No.
I think we all remember Charnley's comments, and that was never ever going to happen. There was no way in hell that he was going to bring anybody in the caliber of Rafa to work under Mike Ashley, especially with what had happened to Rafa. And you can't tell me that managers don't talk. Especially if one of them's offered a job, they'll find out what really goes on behind the scenes. They're not stupid enough. Like if Steven Gerrard was, if we approached him, for instance, he'd go to Rafa straight away and say, "Can you tell us about the club, what it's like working under Mike Ashley?" And then Steve Gerrard will just say, "Thanks, but no thanks," and move on. That's how it is. It's always that way. The points we picked up is down to luck. I'd agree with that. I think we've been very lucky this season.
The games in there has been a pure luck.
Yeah. Go on, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, like Spurs, a point. We're absolutely dominated. We got a lucky penalty.
Yep.
People think Wolves was a lucky one with getting that free kick.
Fulham,
yes, that was another one as well.
Yeah.
Everton, they had half the team out, so
yeah, it was Everton's B side.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thomas says, I don't see us winning for a long time. Well, we've said that. I mean, where's our next win coming from? Everybody seems to be writing off Villa, writing off the Leeds game, writing off the Everton game, and more concentrating on maybe we'll get some points against Crystal Palace. I think, personally, we were lucky at Palace to get away with what we did. We didn't turn up in the last 5 minutes. I dread to think, John, where we can get 3 points from.
I've said for a couple of days, probably a week now, but we're not going to win another game on the Steve Bruce. He'll be gone before we win another game, because at the end of the day, look at the fixtures coming up, right? Yeah. We're not going to, Villa, they're doing well. Leeds scoring goals for fun, yeah? When they're on their game. Then you got Everton, I'll put it together now, And Palace, you don't know what's going to happen against that game. So there'll be many goals in that game. Southampton doing really well. And I just cannot see where the next one is going to come from, because it's clear as day they're not playing for Steve Bruce. And I've been saying that all the time. We're not to win another game until that happens. But he'll be gone, like I said, and way off the curve. He'll be gone after the Everton game.
Yeah. YouTube Epic, good evening to you, mate. How are you doing? We need a clean out, total 10 players out. Sorry, we need a clean out, total 10 players out, 10 in pure lazy. Just happy to pick up a wage. We should furlough half of the squad. I mean, what got me last night was Fernandez wasn't included. They said he was injured. He's out of contract in the summer. Shah, out of contract in the summer, not included at all. Dwight Gale, out of contract in the summer, not included at all. Is there a message there, Sharky?
Yeah, it could be a message of a takeover, couldn't it? Or it could be down to the players that maybe don't want to be at the club beyond the end of the season. They want to maybe have a challenge elsewhere, which you don't blame them. I mean, you don't want to settle for mid-table. But in terms of the players' contracts, it could be the fact that Mike Ashley's saying, right, you know what, your contract's up anyway. I want to sell the club. For the ones who are remaining, then the new owners can sort that out.
Yeah. Peter, do you feel the same?
You've got that feeling, haven't you? Plus, I think we need some players gone out of this football club. Even the ones in contract, I just don't think they're good enough. Well, I know it's my schedule for my player ratings, and one of the players I picked out we should be looking to sell or possibly loan out is Joelinton.
I said that's his time for the club. 80 months later, I want rid of him.
I thought we were going to get away tonight without mentioning his name, but I guess we have to in a way, because, hey, I'm sorry, but he was absolutely appalling last night. Some of the passes he was passing straight to Arsenal players, and I don't care what any of these Joelinton supporters say. He's garbage, right? He is absolutely garbage. There is something in his contract to say that he has to play at least 90% of the football games. Otherwise, how on earth does that man get in the first 11? John?
beats me. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, I done play ratings yesterday, this evening, about a couple of hours ago, and I gave him a 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
And how on earth, right? What does he want to get in the first team or play the first start? What does he want? 95 grand a week he's getting, right? And Ashley must have told Bruce, you got to play him every week. Yeah? If I was to do Bruce, if you got a backbone about him, I would have told Ashley to where to go. Because at the end of the day, I'm the manager. I pick the team. I would have picked the best team. Yeah? And to chuck Joelinton in, 3 goals in 55 games or 56 games, right? 3 goals. Right, that's not good enough. Not good enough. And I did not want this guy playing for us ever again. And on Twitter, I get people tell us to F off. I have someone told us to F off. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Cool. I speak the truth. Yeah, truth stings, baby. The truth stings. And I say I like it. So I say it's rubbish. I say so. Simple as that. He's not good enough.
It absolutely baffles me how many people can support the guy now. James, I mean, you know, I know you've got your opinion on Joelinton, but are you along the same lines as me? Like, there's something in that guy's contract?
Has to be, because of the price that we paid for him, 40 million quid. You beg to differ whether it was 40 million quid. I look at the guy's ability. Is he even a footballer? Do you know what I mean? We've given the number 9 shirt, and I was actually offended in the summer when he actually retained the number 9 shirt. I would have given it to Callum Wilson personally. Yeah. And, you know, he's tried playing him on the left-hand side. He still fails to deceive. And I'm just thinking now, you know, he's got to go out on loan at the end of the season. Something has to give, because there's no way that he fits in our side. I don't even think he's a Premier League footballer, let even alone a footballer. Just listen, I think we all wanted the best for Joelinton when he signed.
Oh yeah, I just think
he's garbage.
I would have loved him to have come good, but I'm sorry, but he's one of the worst signings I've seen in a very, very long time.
I thought Revier was bad.
Yeah, I know. You know, when you look at the likes of Riviere, Josselou in the last few years, you know, we've had some not so good players, but the fact that we, you know, paid the amount we did, I don't know who scouted him, what happened behind the scenes getting
they need sacked. That's what they need.
Yeah, he has made someone a fortune, but I just think there's got to be something written in black and white that says he has to play a certain percentage of games. And, you know, there is contracts like that out there. You know, we know there is, that certain players only sign for a club when they're guaranteed a certain amount of playing time. And I have, for some reason, Joelinton must have one of them in his contract.
Do you know what it is, though? When I see him in the team lineup, right, and I don't want to sound harsh, I'm like, oh, we're beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing is as well, I mean, you talk about Joelinton, there's a very reason why Rafford Benitez didn't want him. You know what I mean? That's the very reason why he whacked away, because they were going to get Joelinton. And
well, we that's crazy, that, isn't it? I mean, we know he was going to go over the head, John.
Is he Brazilian?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would think so, would you? Not that form.
No. Hoffenheim must be laughing all the way to the Deutschbanks, right? Counting all that money.
He scored 7 goals in one competitive season now with it. He didn't even score double figures, and we paid 40 million quid.
Yeah.
Really?
It's I don't know. I run out of words to say about Joelinton, I really do. But Liam says, would you take Reece Nelson from Arsenal? Barely plays for them. Again,
no
I'm
comment.
not so sure. I don't know. I'm not so sure. There's a reason he barely plays for Arsenal, and I think given how Arsenal's team is this season, if he was good enough, he'd be in their starting lineup. To be honest,
it's the same with Brandon Williams. Or like, do you really need him? Like,
we should be looking for, you know, players in positions that we, you know, can excel. You know, like we need a box-to-box midfielder. You know, we need somebody. I mean, I thought at one stage Isaac Hayden might be that guy, but he's more defensively orientated. Which, don't get us wrong, I don't mind. He is that player. But I just think Steve Bruce is looking in the wrong positions for signings. I really do, and that is a massive worry on its own. NUFC 1892. Good evening to you. All right, lads, new to the channel. I watched Paul's video after the Arsenal game, and it sums my feelings up brilliantly. Players need to show that sort of passion. The less said about Bruce, the better. You know, we've said this about all our videos, really, especially last week when, you know, James, you had a very angry video on the review after the Sheffield United debacle. Peter, you're ripping up tactics in front of the camera. John, you're just jumping out your seat screaming at the telly. We all are so angry at the minute with Newcastle United.
It's depressing.
Yes, it is. I would love to sit and do my videos without, my blood pressure going through the roof or my heart.
I just want one game where I can come on in a review and say, do you know what? We played really well.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice?
Video, that's it. That's all
four of us, all four of us to do videos where we're all praising the effort. We've won a game. We've got 3 points. We don't do player ratings that involve zeros or anything like that. We sitting there with smiles on our faces, totally relaxed, not blowing gaskets or anything like that. But one thing it does prove, with all four of us that do, our own channels, our own reviews and everything, we have passion for Newcastle United. We are Newcastle United fans through and through, and we all say how it is. And, if people don't like it, then that's fine. But as I say, I think the majority of fans would normally be much more happy when they see real fans behind the camera, showing real passion and real feelings for the football club.
Well, the board don't speak, so someone needs to.
Exactly. I mean, Pete, sometimes I've seen your videos and you're disappointed, but you keep you calm and things like that. And then the last few, obviously the gasket's blown, you've had enough. John, you're the same. It's just, we've all had enough, but we all will continue to do the videos, but we say how it is. And if we've played very badly, especially like Sheffield United or last night in the second half, we will get angry because we will all wear our heart on our sleeves because that's who we are. We're not going to sit in front of the camera and bullshit anybody and say everything's rosy in the garden when it isn't. Because, John, there's nothing at the minute to be positive about Newcastle United.
Absolutely zero. Zero positivity, zero passion, zero happiness. I'm not being funny, right? But we speak the truth and we just say how like it is. And at the minute, the reason we're happy because we're 15th. We haven't won in 9 games. 7 losses out of 9, 2 draws. Yeah, scoring's the problem. Defending's the problem. Scoring's the problem. How can we be positive if we don't do the basics right? Do you know what I mean? But listen up. Until they prove to us on the pitch, they can do the business, and Steve Bruce boxes ideas, or else get out. Okay, we're gonna be like this. We don't want to be like this. We want to be saying nice things. We want to say being positive. Do you know what I mean? But it's now to be positive at this club. It's not.
I mean, we've all said, haven't we, that if we, even if we lose, if we see a team of 11 players that's gone out there and absolutely worked their bollocks off to try and get something from the game, to show the fans that they're actually trying to win a game of football, even if we lost, we'd clap them off, because we'd have seen a bit of effort. That's all we want as Newcastle fans, not this Champions League crap. We want to see a team that actually tries, has a little bit of ambition to win a football match, and doesn't just sit there and take it up the arse week after week. It's got to that stage now, though. Marcelo Gallardo or AVB for manager. They're the two I want, says Michael Nixon. Good evening to you. I've seen a few mentions for AVB on social media today, but it's again, James, I think it comes down to this again.
He's in a job, wasn't he?
AVB, I don't think he's his now. I think he was managing in Russia, wasn't he?
No. He's the manager of Marseille.
Oh, is he still at Marseille?
Oh, well, that's
fair enough.
So that's why I haven't mentioned his name.
Yeah. There's no way he'd leave Marseille to come to Newcastle anyway.
The problem is though, they have to be sort of like on the even keel with Mike Ashley. Do you know what I mean? And they're gonna have to try and get on with him. They have to get on with Lee Charnley.
Yeah,
I couldn't see AVB being that type of manager. He's the sort of manager who would want a bit of money to spend to try and take Newcastle into the top 7. And unfortunately, under Mike Ashley, that's not going to happen unless we have like a very, very fortunate season where things actually go our way. But as you've seen all too often, it's
Go back to that, Michael, that comment. Marcelo Gallardo, he's a very interesting one. He's never played, and he's been there for quite a long time.
Right,
a style of football which our fans will be absolutely pleased with if we get him. He plays a 4-3-3. No, he plays a diamond, right? A diamond, a free roll, and 2 up top, and he plays exciting, attacking football. I mean, it'd be exciting. They were doing in the semi-finals, Libertadores, yeah. And then the second leg, they nearly pulled it off. But he'd be a fantastic manager if he came to Newcastle.
I want to say we just work the goalkeeper. That'd be his start.
Yeah. I mean, it just, I can't remember what attacking football looks like, to be honest.
No, this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see what work the goalkeeper, because we just don't do enough of it. We're spending most of the game just defending.
Mm-hmm. We do, which is diabolical, really. Paul Jackson, good evening. He says, bollocks to Hughes. Again, that's your opinion, my man. You're well entitled to it. Everyone has. Certainly, I think if Mark Hughes was appointed, he'd definitely split the fan base. But like we've said, I think even if you're not sure on him, if he got the job, you'd have to support him and give him the chance.
The thing is, Paul, it's going to any manager that comes in under Mike Ashley, it's going to split the fan base. Doesn't matter who it is.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone. It's the same whenever a new manager's appointed, isn't it? 3:30 says Richie Delat said the quote, not Jack Grealish. I'm not sure. I saw that it was Jack Grealish, but it doesn't really matter who said the quote. It just sums Steve Bruce up in a sentence, really. If it was Delat or Jack Grealish that said it, it doesn't really matter. All we know is that somebody has said it, and it's kind of understandable. We're not looking in total shock at that comment, because we can imagine that that's exactly what goes on in training, which is crazy. And around Harish, good evening to you. Pearson would suit. Yes, he would. I mean, we've had our say on Nigel Pearson, and I think I don't think there's one of us that wouldn't mind him coming in, because we know he'd certainly install a bit of discipline. Geordie says Delat also quoted how Tony Pulis is a better manager than Bruce. Well, there you go. I mean, John, doesn't that say it all?
Why do you think I'm mentioning Mark Hughes?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't be any worse.
John?
Sorry, Tony Pulis.
Is a better manager than Steve Bruce, according to Richie Delat.
I think he's more better organised, but again, he does play the long ball, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? But defense setup, but when I take him,
I think when it comes down to Tony Pulis, I think we're going backwards again. I think he's a very, very similar manager to Steve Bruce, to be honest, of the similar ink, similar age. I wouldn't like Tony Pulis. Peter, what's your thoughts on Pulis?
Absolutely no chance. I've seen his style of football. It's like watching paint dry. Long ball every time. It's just rugby style football.
Yeah.
It's dreadful to watch. Nah, definitely no chance for Pulis.
He plays six at the back, doesn't he? He plays six at the back, doesn't he? Defend the whole of the time. So, not for me. Sorry.
Geordie says, anyone found out what a false 10 is yet? I can't even find out on Google. I have no idea. No idea at all. Brian Ofsky, good evening to you, Brian. Katie Price for the new manager. She like to play with two false 10s.
All the players to be staring at her knockers every time she's standing on the
Hey, that's a classic, Brian. Well said. Scout Hood, good evening. I'm absolutely sick of this team. No matter what system we play, we are shit. This team is long gone, and it looks like we'll be playing in the championship next year. What a shame. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, have done a lot of videos where they've said if we go down, we're not coming straight back up this time. It will not be the same as what it was, certainly under Rafa. We've still got a lot of those players that were in the championship, and, you know, there's a few years gone by where they have lost a bit of pace. They've lost a bit of agility. Some of them have had long-term injuries. If we look at the likes of Dummett, for me, Peter, I think if we go down, it's lights out for a while for the Premier League.
Yeah, probably will be. Plus, we'll lose a lot of top players like Wilson, ASM, Miggy. They'll be off as well. They'll not want to stay at a club that's gone down, who's had no passion, and they not want to play championship bubble when they think, oh, we could do better here now, and look for somewhere with more ambition.
Yeah. So
there'll be a lot of clearance out as well.
I think that's what a lot of players want, isn't it? A bit of ambition. But Geordie's come on here he's got a quote from DeAndre Yedlin, who said, I have 6 months left on my contract. It has been a bit frustrating because me and my agent have had no communication with Newcastle at all about what their plans are for me. It has been hard. That comment there, Sharky, does not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, I just think it's down to the takeover, isn't it? I think they're trying to get a deal done, but it's still within the courts, and the Premier League are trying to, try to do their best to try and knock the takeover, but I don't think they will this time, especially with the peace treaty between Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I honestly believe in the summer something's going to happen, but we're just going to have to remain patient.
John, what's your thoughts on that comment from Yedlin?
I agree with James as well, if I'm honest, but when you have no communication with Newcastle between the club and the player, there's something ain't quite right. So I think it's that to take over as well. And but not only that, I mean, there's going to be other players to be going the end of the season anyway. So I
mean, for me, that sums up Newcastle United anyway. It's just the same. We as fans feel like, the same as the players. There's no communication, and it's been like that for years now. Liam says, if fans were allowed in, I would have been going to watch Leyton Orient, as my mates are Leyton Orient and I enjoy it. Again, the lower leagues play some good football, and even in the non-leagues, and people are starting to turn to that because they just can't watch this much longer. And it's such a shame when we're talking about our own football club like that. Geordie says, when fans are allowed back to St James's Park, would you go back if Mike Ashley still owned the club? For me, yes. I think we've just discussed this about 20 minutes ago about giving season tickets. So I will go back. James?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Peter?
Yeah, I said I'll go back as well.
John?
I probably would now because of all the blogging as well I'm doing as well. So I need to do it live at the stadium as well. So it makes it look good, and the booster subscribers, I'll probably have to do it. Yeah.
See, mine's not even down to subscribers, just the fact I want to go watch the team.
Yeah.
I missed that match day. I must admit, I do miss.
That's what I miss more. It's not about as much as I love doing the vlogs, as much as I love doing YouTube. My love's Newcastle United.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go back. I'll definitely go back, and just as a fan, it's best to. I'll probably get slated to say, "Oh, you shouldn't go when Ashley's there." But at the end of the day, you love your club, and you got some.
Yeah, but that's your fan, though. That's up to you. At the end of it, people can't tell you what you can and can't do. You do what's best for you.
I was just going to say, it's personal opinion. If you want to go and watch them, fine. If you don't want to go and watch them and you want to protest against Mike Ashley, that's also fine. It's entirely up to you as an individual what you do, whether you go to the games or not. But for me, yes, I'd go back. Jules says, Bruce, get the hell out of our beloved club, you selfish tower. I think we know what was coming there. Retro, I'll read, lads. Good evening to you. Ryan Sweeney, lads. Ryan says, it's irrelevant who we sign without managers changing. Peter?
Yes. Well, yeah, it is, isn't it? Simple as that.
James?
Yeah, I just think we're a mess. Yeah. This is probably the worst mess I've seen in a long time. And if you're bringing up that quote from Yedlin, that tells you everything that you need to know, say about the football club and its direction.
Yeah, it's certainly going the wrong way. Brian says the next few weeks will be interesting. I agree with what you said, James, about the end of January probably being the cut-off. I called it. Yeah, I think we've got, 4 games now before the end of January? 3?
3.
I think if we get nothing from these next 3 games, which, by the way...
He's not. For me, he's not winning any of these games. No. I want him gone at the end of the month. For me, something has to give out. I thought the board would have grew some balls after Sheffield United and done something, or even done something last night or this morning. Still nothing. Something has to give after the Everton game. If he does not get rid of Steve Bruce, and that's no winning 12, by the way, that's shocking. Awful. If we don't bring in a new manager by February, the lads have got no chance of staying up because it'll be the same predictable football. And I said it and I'll say it now, right? I'm being kind. I think in the 20 games that we've got left from now, I think we'll win 3 games and that'll be 28 points. That'll be the lowest the club's ever had in history and we'll go down. Sorry.
It doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
Well, do you think Ashley's not going to keep Bruce the whole of January? So say Nigel Pearson comes in, right? Say next week, and Bruce gets a sack. Are they going to stop him from bringing them in? So he probably asks for money. So if I would have been these players, I would spend some money.
See, for me, it's not about, if a manager comes in, it's not about money. It's about a manager coming in who will want to get a tune out with these players because there's no doubt they're decent players. I'm not saying they're top 10 players, but they can't be any worse managed than under Steve Bruce. Do you know what I mean? If you bring in a Hughes, or if you bring in, anyone with half a brain cell that could do a job, that won't, mess the fans around. Then bring them in. Do you know what I mean? They'll be grateful that they're managing Newcastle United Football Club, and I'm sure results would change.
Well, I was just about to say that. I was, when John said that about wanting money, I think if any manager looks on paper at the players we have in that squad now, any decent manager will say, I will get a tune out of them. You know, the talent talent that is already in this squad is good enough to be, like you said, James, maybe not top 10, but certainly around 10 to 14th, you know, without a shadow of a doubt.
Expectations. Any manager could do that. I'm sorry, they could.
Exactly. And I just think that Steve Bruce has proven how crap he is as a manager by the fact that he can't get a tune out of some absolute talent that he has at his disposal. You know, Wilson is a talent. ASM is a talent. But we have to remember that ASM had a run of poor games before he went missing. You know,
does it not worry you when he says the other day, ASM's not back for another couple of weeks? Well, he's only got 2 weeks left. If that's what we're saying, he's going to be gone by the end of the month. Well, you look at the games we've got coming up, he could be gone by next week. And then ASM will be back with a new manager. Look at the results change. I can say it.
I'm sorry, but I will always stick to my guns that something stinks about the whole ASM situation. From the minute he went missing, and then COVID hit, and then the after effects of COVID, something stinks with this whole situation, Peter.
Yeah, it does. You would just like to have answers about it, but probably will not get them because since the board, the manager are just absolutely spineless from top to bottom.
Geordie says there, Danny Rose is playing for the Spurs under 21s at the moment. Would you take him on loan? Personally, I wouldn't, but it would add competition for Jamal Lewis. I'd rather say, I've said this before, I'd rather put Danny Rose in a boat and send him to the middle of the ocean. There is no way I want him back at Newcastle. I've said it numerous times. I think we're all in agreement that Danny Rose is not the answer. Geordie, you said you wouldn't take him either. I just think it would be a massive backward step to bring somebody like Danny Rose in, who, by the way, made it clear that he had no intention of coming back to Newcastle United and was quite forward in his comments about the club. Geordie says Hamza Chowdhury looks a decent player when I've watched him. Long-range shots and tackles. I mean, I must admit, I haven't seen a lot of him. I'm just going off what people have said about him. Any of you guys seen him much?
I have. I watched him at Burton as well. I thought he was a cracking player when he was when I loaded Burton Albion. Then Leicester, he had a few games, but you got to look at how good Leicester are now. You know what I mean? They're not the Leicester of old. You know, they've won the Premier League. They lose a player every season, but they seem to replace that player. And listen, I think yes, it was a bad tackle on Matt Ritchie. You know that's happened. It's gone now. You know, he served his time. Well, he didn't serve any time, but anyway, you can't take away the lad's ability. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying he's going to be the answer to all our problems, but he can't be any worse than what we've got. You know what I mean? As mentioned, if you look at Shelby, he's awful. If you look at Jeff Hendrick, by the way, who for me is not even a Premier League footballer, Christ. There you go. You can't be any worse.
Did anyone actually, just going back to last night, something that I wanted to discuss with you guys was the substitutions. I can't understand why he brought Andy Carroll off. You know, when you're 2-0 down, you're going to try and get back in the game. You pull a striker off for a winger. I understand him bringing Murphy on, but not for the life of me understanding taking somebody of Andy Carroll who can cause problems if every ball into the box, which Murphy would do for you. I don't understand bringing Hendrick on, and I don't understand giving Anderson like 3 minutes. It was pathetic.
Poor substitutions, man. I would have took off Joelinton off straight away and Shelby at the same time. Those two were absolutely shambolic yesterday. I mean, to do that, to me, I think Bruce is begging for the sack. That's why he's been doing this. You know what I mean? He's been doing it. I think he's begging for the sack. That's why he's been doing that. He's basically telling Ashley, that's what I've got. These players are not good enough for him. And he did.
I mean, for me, Andy Carroll was one of our better players last night. And I said that to you, John. I thought he was one of our better players amongst a really bad bunch. I thought him and Miggy played quite well, given the restraints that were on the side. But I don't understand why he didn't bring Joelinton off and put Murphy on. I can't understand it, or even bring Ritchie on for Joelinton. How he stayed on the pitch for the full game, it beggars belief, James.
I just think the whole Jeff Hendricks substitution summed up Steve Bruce's tactics and how he goes about games. I think it's an insult to all Newcastle United fans. That's it.
Yeah.
Peter?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, how can you keep a player on that was dreadful and has been underperforming for a long time at this football club? He should have looked. I can't believe he's not doing his homework, looking who's not performing on the pitch. he's just thrown any random on and just taken any random off, and that's why he's so tactically inept, this manager.
Yeah, he's definitely got his favourites without a shadow of a doubt. Michael Nixon, good evening to you. Bring back Muto and loan out Joelinton. To be honest, I thought Muto never, ever got a proper opportunity at this club. From what I saw, Muto, he was a decent player, had a good bit of talent, and I think I'd have him back in a second over Joelinton. James?
Yeah, I would agree. I think he didn't really get that chance, and that's what I was gutted about, because we never really seen Muto do. But he scored some decent goals at Old Trafford. It's a big place to go in terms of a fixture. And I just think, obviously Rafa didn't rate him. I think that was more down to a board signing, in my opinion, rather than Rafa. Because otherwise, Rafa would have played him a lot more than he did.
Yeah,
it was a bit confusing under Brewster why he didn't get the game time. But yeah, as you mentioned, he can't be any worse than Joelinton, surely.
No, I just don't. I think Muto, when he scored at Old Trafford, he caused Man United a lot of problems that day. Yeah. And then the next game, he was disappeared. He just vanished again. It was quite bizarre the way they went on with Muto. Michael Kelly says Nigel Pearson with Lee Clark. I think that would probably work. I mean, Lee Clark coming in with Pearson, I would be quite happy with those two, undoubtedly. David Tron says, "Hey lads, good evening to you, David. Hope you're well." James, would you want Chris Hughton back? I've always had a soft spot for him.
Not come back here now.
No, John, what do you think about Hughton? Sorry, go on, James.
Oh, no, I was just about to quickly say he's at Forest anyway.
Yeah, I think he's working on the plan at Forest. To be honest, it's whether he gets the time to do it. I think. John, what's your thoughts on Hughton coming back?
Will I take him back? I'll go with James. I don't think he'll come back. And no, I don't think he will. Would I take him back though? Probably would. I probably give him probably would, but I just can't see him.
If you look at his treatment though, the way Mike actually kicked him out the door, he's not going to work on him ever again.
No, is he bollocks? No way.
No way.
Geordie says, would you take Steve Watson? Probably not. If I'm being honest,
that kind of level of football now.
Nah, he's at York City now anyway, isn't he?
He's more top flight experience, I would say. He needs to work at the EFL.
Yeah. I mean, don't get us wrong. I think if one like Lee Clark or Steve Watson came in with a Nigel Pearson, I think having somebody like Clark or Steve Watson there with Nigel Pearson wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, listen, you look at Lee Clark, right, and he's got championship experience with Birmingham. He's managed Huddersfield. He's managed Blackpool. And then, you mentioned Nigel Pearson. They've both got plenty of top flight experience. Do you know what I mean? So it wouldn't be a bad shout. Yeah, and plus, they've got a good identity with a fan base. They've got a good identity with the club. You need guys who have got some sort of affiliation with the fan base. Now, I mentioned Mark Hughes before. The reason why I mentioned Mark Hughes is because I think he's got a lot of Premier League experience. And I mentioned 2 years out of the game. You just need managers who are, going to try and get a tune out of the players that we've got, because right now they're just flat. They're demotivated.
Yeah. Dave Harrison says, Michael Kelly, good shout on the manager's shout. I can't remember who Michael said, but it was a good shout. Anyway, David Tron, would you give Tuchel or Puel a go, lads? They won't come. It's as simple as that. These bigger name managers will not come for Mike Ashley. I mean, if we're talking, a takeover happening and then something along them lines, then yes, somebody like Tuchel, a young manager, young up and coming manager who's, managed one of the biggest sides in PSG, yes. But
Puel, I found very boring. I'm not gonna lie.
You what?
I found Puel very boring.
Oh, he's got no personality, that man at all. But these guys they won't want to work under Ashley. Liam NUFC says, I like Pardew at the start of 2014. At the start, 2014 was the end game for me. Yeah, like we've said, it went downhill very quickly under Pardew.
I'm a bit sorry for him towards the end, to be honest. I really did. Yeah. I did. I know Fair if he lost to Sunderland, but at the end of the day, he tried with what he had, and it's like most managers, they're out the door.
I didn't mind him. I really didn't. Jory says, problem with Pardew was that from day one, he was portrayed as being one of Ashley's friends.
Don't think he ever was.
I'm not sure he was either. And this is what gets me, just because there's a couple of photos come out with Pardew alongside Ashley in photographs, that doesn't mean anything. They could be at corporate events or anything, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think there was anything in that. And I think that didn't help Pardew at all. I think it put him on the back foot straight away.
But look when he celebrated though. He used to do like the Superman thing. It meant a lot to him. You know what I mean? Like some managers wouldn't even celebrate. So he did connect with the club in that way. Do you know what I mean? And he was he's not a Geordie, he's a Londoner, but whatnot. But you've got to remember the job that he did though. Do you know what I mean? You can't take that away from him. By the way, he got the LMA Manager of the Year as well.
Mm-hmm. You know that says something. That says something.
Or Manager of the Season, I think it was. Sorry, he got
season. Yeah, it was. Truel says, "Thank God Bruce doesn't work at the suicide line. The numbers would go through the roof." Oh Jesus. Oh. Okay. Moving on. Ryan says, "Pardew had a great team. Best one under Cashley. For me, he was a puppet." Again, opinions are everyone's entitlement. Jason says, "Just realised Bruce is now doing things his way. So why are we jumping on his case after one game in charge? Lol. Someone else has been a false 10. Manager the last 18 months."
That's true. Yeah, that's true, lads. He's only had one game. Game. You know what's he done for 18 months?
Yeah, we've got to back him. It's the new Steve Bruce.
Yeah, the new era. You know the Bruce era now. You know the Bruce number 2, Bruce 2.
Okay.
Chris and UFC says, "Hi lads." I don't know where Sharky's gone now. He's had an accident. Oh, he's back.
Sorry, I'm here. I haven't caught on my phone. Sorry. There we go.
Chris and UFC says, "Hi lads, Bruce out, but Ashley won't pay money to get Bruce out." I think I've seen a lot of comments today, John, saying that or anyone really. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that Bruce will not quit because he wants a payout.
Well, he said he wouldn't pay a payout, but he's still paying players like Atsu, Xavier, Lazar about £5 million, £5 million a season between them. So why can you not afford 1.5 million for getting rid of Bruce? I just don't get it. Because if we get relegated, he's still there.
Yeah.
Ashley, 120 million plus the possible 340 million pounds going to get for the takeover. He'll not get that. So he's, like I said, he's got to do the right thing now. Get rid of him now. Get him in, and then he's got to pay for sustainable.
I find it scandalous that we paid Sheffield Wednesday so much money for him.
What was the rumours that he begged? Was it Lee Charlie begged Steve Bruce to get the job?
Yeah.
What was the rumours in that?
Yeah, I think that was true though. Because like John said the other week, I think he was 11th choice of manager. And I think it got to a desperate stage where we absolutely begged it. Charlie begged him to come. And Ashley had told Charlie that we will pay whatever it takes to get him. And that's embarrassing.
£4 million we pay. We paid $4 million to Sheffield Wednesday. $4 million.
Yeah, well, we paid 40 million for Joelinton. You know what I mean? We just splash money out for any old shit these days. Michael Kelly says Mark Hughes is on a par with Bruce. Not necessarily agree with you there, Michael. I think Mark Hughes has got a bit more about him than Steve Bruce. I think discipline-wise, I think he would be more of a disciplinarian than certainly Steve Bruce would be. I think he'd rifle some of them players. Peter,
I think it'll be harsh just to judge him on his last year at Stoke City when he got sacked.
Yeah, without doubt.
You could give him that chance, and he could prove everyone wrong.
Look what Pardew did, though. Look what Alan Pardew did. You know what I mean? He proved everyone wrong. I mentioned before, League One manager, but look what he did.
Yeah. I think we're in such a desperate position as fans. I think
no one is going to get Newcastle back into that top 7 or even top 10 these days with Mike Ashley in charge.
Yeah. Ryan says after 147 games, Pardew had a 37% win percentage. Not great for the team he had. Yeah, I mean, we're talking sort of, we all know that it didn't go quite for Pardew, the last part of his stint at the club, but we're talking what he did when he first came in and what he did with the players that he had, because he certainly didn't get supported like
Can't Steve ignore Bruce it though, like it's there in black and white. He got with 5th place, he got with the Europa League. I mean, with Mike Ashley in charge, for me, who would ever have dreamt that Newcastle would have been in Europe with Mike Ashley in charge as your football club?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those signings were made as well. They were under Graham Carr. Graham Carr brought them players in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Graham Carr had a big influence on players coming through the door at that time. So that's what we were saying before about Pardew not really having to say the players coming in. It was Graham Carr. And Graham Carr even came out and said, "It's me that's bringing the players in," because I remember, there was a stint where he brought a few in that were absolutely terrible, and that's when the shit hit the fan with him, because he brought players in who were just nowhere near good enough. John, there's a quote here from Geordie, so I'll get your opinion on this. What's going to happen when the likes of Bruce, Pulis, Hughes, and Allardyce aren't managers anymore? We need to see the next generation of managers starting to make a new for themselves. Yeah, I mean, younger managers, is that the way forward now?
For my opinion, I see it so, but like I said earlier, sort of thing, because it's modern football now. The game's moved on from these names you mentioned. Yeah, in my opinion, yeah, we need to get younger managers with new ideas. We need to play a style of football, different formations, and that. Not stuck in a whatever you want to call it. But I've always said that get a younger manager in, sort of thing. And like I said, if it's going to be who's going to come in, then I suppose you've got to have to back him. But you're right, we need younger managers coming in.
Geordie says there, Mark Hughes is arrogant on and off the pitch. I don't really know him off the pitch to know if he is or he isn't, to be honest. I'm not sure about that. Chris says Mark Hughes did not do well in his past job, so I don't know about him. Well, I think he did well at Man City. I think he did very well at Man City, given
he did well at Blackburn as well.
He did. Did he not get them promoted back from were they in League One and they came up? I'm sure he got a promotion with Blackburn somewhere along the way.
But the thing is, I think people are judging him on what he done at QPR and Fulham, and they were just chopping and changing back in the day anyway. I felt a bit bad for him, and then Stoke City, given that the fact they come up from the Championship, and they were, I read the coach's voice, and he basically come out and said that the board didn't have any expectations. I let you come in, and I was allowed just to do the things I wanted to do. And the fact he got them into the top 10 like 3 seasons in a row out of 4, that's great. And then he come out and said, well, the last season I lost a lot of my best players, which I did say, to be fair. They could only get in loans. What you're supposed to do with that? Do you know what I mean? It was always going to go badly wrong for him at the end.
Geordie says Villa will be gunning to show Bruce up on Saturday night. Peter, there's no doubt about that. The Villa will want to get one over him, definitely.
Oh, massively. They're going to have Grealish, Watkins, other players like McGinn, is it?
McGinn.
If they turn up, if they perform, they're going to have us right on toast.
John, what do you think about the game on Saturday? I mean, we know it's going to be tough. Villa are quite good at home. They've got Grealish, Barkley, Watkins. Who's that other guy that's been scoring recently?
El Ghazi.
El Ghazi. He's a threat. They do have threats on the pitch, and they actually work very hard for their manager.
Oh, they do. They play some cracking stuff as well. They passed it there very, very quick on the counter attack. They move the ball well, but if you allow Grealish to play and give him time and space, he's going to absolutely damage us big time. It's not just him. You got McGinn's cracking player, Barkley's cracking player. You got Watkins as well. Not only Watkins, he can hold the ball up as well and pass and move. But if we don't concentrate and don't sort of self-suit, they're going to absolutely kill us. They're going to murder us. I'm not talking about 2-3s. You're talking about 4s and 5s because they're quite capable of beating teams 4s and 5s.
They absolutely destroyed Liverpool, didn't they? I mean, James, have got some good midfielders on there that can very, very creative.
Yeah, the one I'm actually impressed with is the lone player, and that's Ross Barkley from Chelsea. I thought he's made a massive difference to them. The quality that he's got, and he just drives them forward. You mentioned Grealish, but you look at that manager. And they say like he's a local lad. He's not like the excuses of Steve Bruce and whatnot. He's trying to get the best out of these young players that he's got, and you've got to give him a lot of credit. And for Villa to have had the season that they've had, they can only go forward from here. They've got an identity. Do you know what I mean? They've had a lot of crap as well, like Newcastle have in the past. They've had a relegation with us, but they've come back into the Premier League and they've just looked, like they've taken it a duck to water. They've been a breath of fresh air and the football that they're playing. Even last season when the stadium was pretty much the last day. They've kicked on from there. And, as you've all mentioned, I can't see past a Villa win. And that's quite sad, really. But that's what's going on at the football club. There's now 4.
It's terrible now where we're all coming to do with sort of prediction videos and things like that. And there's not many prediction videos out there now.
Their midfield will rip us to shreds. They really will.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about and all.
Just to explore quickly as well. I mean, they could have got relegated the last season. It was that game that kept them up, yeah. And what they've done, they changed the team. They sorted up. They knew the problem was going to. They knew the problem, right? And they sorted that problem out. And look where they are now. They sorted. I
think it's a club with ambition. You know what I mean? And it's something we haven't got. They've wanted to get back into the Premiership and progress. Peter, David's just made a comment there saying, "I think we will win against Villa, Leeds, and Everton."
Villa, none. Leeds, none. Everton, none. I can't.
Do you know what?
How can we get any wins if the way we're playing?
Do you know what? If I look at those 3 fixtures, if there's any fixture we can get at least a point from, it's Leeds because I hate you, Missy. You don't know what you don't know what Leeds are going to turn up. But apart from that, being realistic, I can't see we're getting any points anywhere.
I don't think we can handle the way Leeds play, whether they hit and miss or not. I think they just attack from so many areas on the pitch. Whether our team isn't good enough to exploit that, where the likes of some of the teams have been able to, where they've caught Leeds out of position on numerous occasions, and where Leeds have took a spanking. But if you look at the likes of the performances against West Brom, where they just destroyed them and they destroyed us, I don't think we have that tactical nous, if you like, to actually perform and keep with Leeds. I think that's why Leeds.
That's what I'm saying, though, like, Paul. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I look at Leeds, like, some games they play well, other games they get absolutely spanked. So you don't know what you're going to get with them, But yeah, listen, I mean, they beat with 5-2. You can't, take that away from them. They're a good side, but very similar to Aston Villa progression.
Honestly, but when was the last time you looked at the sort of so down about the situation that we look at playing Aston Villa, Leeds United, and Everton, and thought we've got no chance of winning any points against them?
By the way, we'll be Everton reserves at St James's, and we nearly actually conceded a late equaliser at the end.
So many players missing for Everton in that game. Ryan Sweeney says we were lucky last season. I think we've been lucky since the word go with Steve Bruce. I think he's been the luckiest manager I've ever seen when it comes to scraping results. He's just the luckiest man alive. But I think that luck has run out now. I really do. Geordie says, how much do you think we would get for Joelinton, John?
No,
a lot. Probably 50 if you're lucky.
How much did you say?
How much did we get? No, we paid 40. We'd be lucky. We're not.
Did you just say 15? Did you say 15?
Well, we'd be lucky to get that. We'd be lucky to get that, but probably,
we're not going to get a penny for him. We're going to get at this rate. We're getting nothing. Absolutely nothing.
John, I tell you what, you can be my agent if you want. If you think we can get 15 million quid for Joelinton, I will take you on as my personal agent to help me with my channel. I'm telling you, because that optimism in its highest.
He's gone.
Even Sharky's throwing his phone around. He's that disgusted.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm throwing it in disgust. Honestly, the way Joe, right? We paid 40 million quid, right? Why can't we take a leaf from West Ham United, right? They bought Haller at the same time, right? I forgot how much they paid for him, but they've taken a loss and he's went Ajax. Why can't Mike Ashley not accept that he's been crap? And you know what? He's not going to get the 40 million quid back. It doesn't matter. Yeah. The thing is, the longer he plays and he underperforms, I'm sorry to say we're getting bugger all from anything of Joelinton.
Yeah, it just comes to a point.
Even League One and League Two clubs won't even be queuing up for him.
Will the bollocks? Sometimes you've just got to cut your losses. I mean, John, if you can get like Bristol City or somebody to come in for 15 million, get it done, son. Get him away.
50. That's an insult to Bristol City. That 15 million is going to pay that.
Peter, how much do you think he's worth?
No, thing is, so I mean, personally, I just agree with you guys. Just count your losses.
I'll let him go for free, me.
Okay.
I'll let him go for free.
Peter, do you think we'll get anything for him? Hand on heart.
Not at this rate, and all the way he's performing. I think we'd be lucky to get a penny, actually.
John, it's clear you're having another mare for the second week running.
No.
Honestly, it says a lot when League One and League Two clubs they won't even queue up for him, man. He's not worth it. Just honestly, you say cut your losses. Just say we've spent 40 million quid. It's down to Swanee. Just let him go wherever he wants. Do you know what? I'd even drive him down to Sunderland. He's that bad.
I don't think Sunderland would take him.
Shall I tell you what I'll do? I'll drive him down to Rio. I'll drive him back into Rio.
No, honestly, Sunderland, you can have for free. Free.
I still don't think they'd take him.
They won't even touch him. I mean, no one ain't going to touch him. No one ain't, because he is, honestly, he is that poor footballer. He is for me, he's worse than Michael Owen. He's worse than Michael Owen.
but you still think he's worth 15 million, John. So we'll skip over that comment anyway. Chris NUFC says I would swap Joelinton for Diego Costa. Well, he's a free agent, isn't he?
Yeah, but
Wages.
no way will get him. He'll be asking for too much wages.
Yeah.
And why would he want to play with a club who's struggling massively in the Premier League with
Without
no
a doubt.
ambition, with a dinosaur manager?
Peter, I detect a bit of anger in your voice there. You know, when you start to talk about Steve Bruce and everything, I think something's tipping you over the edge.
Just being honest, man. Just being honest.
Exactly. That's how you've got to be. Ryan, we will win another game because Bruce is a lucky Fuka. Yes, to a degree, I think he is, but I think it's as James down there likes to put it, his lucky socks have well and truly fallen off now, and I think they've gone missing.
There's no comeback.
Nah, I cannot see it. Geordie, Bruce referred to the players as absolute shite, and then the players don't turn up. It's no surprise. He did say that, actually, yes. So if you're a player, you look at that comment right there and you say, and you've heard the manager come out and say, we were absolutely shite. Is it a good thing or a bad thing, or was he trying to motivate the players, James?
Bad thing, because at the end of the day, I think the players are better than him. I just think you need to look at himself. I think he's the one. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to use the language, but I just think, Steve Bruce is really in choppy water now, isn't he? I think the pressure's getting to him. He knows it. And if he's coming out and saying that to the media, then unfortunately, I think he knows he's lost the dressing room. I think he's just trying to play with the media. That's what he's doing. But
so you think it was more
I didn't buy it. I think it's sorry.
You think it was more of a deflection to deflect it onto the players rather than him take responsibility?
Yeah. Again, he doesn't take accountability for when we get beat.
Yeah, I totally agree. Chris NUFC says hi, Liam NUFC. Bit of banter going on there. Geordie says Julian Nagelsmann is the manager we need. He will be able to make this squad £50 million players.
You need a takeover for someone like him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But this is the point, really. I mean, this is why we're looking in at managers like Mark Hughes, etc., is because we can't attract the big names because of who owns the club.
That's Paul. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we had a takeover, no, I wouldn't go for Mark Hughes. But if you look at the current situation with Mike Ashley looking to get a takeover, and I don't want to be disrespectful towards Mark Hughes, but if we're going to give him a short term, or even to like Pearson, and then we'll go from there, and that's up to the new owner if they want to keep Mark Hughes on. Beyond that, of course, they're going to give him a contract, but we're not going to get the best players, and we're not going to get the best managers until Mike Ashley leaves.
Very, very true. Ryan says it'll be Cashley controlling Joelinton's situation. He'll not want a massive loss on him. I think it'll come to the point where he'll have no bloody choice, because unless he gets John Sinclair into his office and helps him sell him, then he's not going to make anywhere near what he paid for him. I think it's fair to say, John, you've had a mare, son. You've had a mare again.
What it is, right? I don't think I do big in though. It make people laugh and bring the flavour into it as well. That's
what it's all about, my friend, and that's what we like about the show. Sharky's disappeared. Oh, he's back.
Sorry, I'm on before, but before just decided to die on us today. So
I gathered that, just went disappeared. Let's have a look.
But I'm here. I am alive.
A few more comments before the end there. Scout Hut says, by the way, a false nine is meant to be an unconventional lone striker or centre forward who drops deep into midfield. We know all about the false nine. It's the false 10 that we don't get. So does a false 10 mean that he starts in an unconventional number 10 role and then drops into midfield?
You'd be calling the goalkeeper the false one next.
Do you know what I mean? That wouldn't surprise me. If he came out into an interview and said, well, we tried Darlow as a false number one and it didn't quite work out. You know what I mean?
Do you know like the false 5 and the false 8? Honestly, you couldn't make it up with Steve Bruce. You really couldn't.
But that's how he played last night. He played with a false 10, didn't he?
But I still want to know what a false 10 is.
I mean, by a false 10, if 10 players behind the ball, just hopeless.
I can only think of a false 10, right, being like not a number 10, but in the midfield. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
It's got to be. I mean, to be honest, I don't think if you asked many football managers in the Premier League saying, would you play a false 10? They'd kind of look at the reporter and think, what the hell are you talking about? But, Geordie says, do we even have a board? I heard the other day that it's just one man, Lee Charnley, and where is he? Who knows?
It's copy and paste Lee Charnley.
But Peter, do you know anybody else in the board?
Okay, no. Well, there probably has, or we've never heard of them, but
John, I know you're trying to get yourself on the board by your Joelinton comments, but do you know anybody on the board at the minute?
Listen, if I was the manager, I'll get you guys on my board as well. But I'll tell you what, Lee Charlie, where is he? I have no idea. Is he kidnapped or something?
Well, he was at the Leicester game, wasn't he? We saw him in the stands, but he's never come out and said anything, any communication or anything over the last few months.
Do you know what really annoys me? Can I just say something, right? When an opposition fans say, well, what you're so ungrateful for, like these Arsenal fans as well, like your owner actually goes to the games, but our owner doesn't. Had on. He just turns up when he feels like he wants to, and when Newcastle gone behind, he laughs. Have you watched the Newcastle game live when Mike Ashley's been there and we've been 1-0 down, and he sat there laughing.
He doesn't care. The only reason Mike Ashley turns up for games is if there's somebody there, like a corporate meeting or somebody very important that he thinks he can make a bit of money from.
Do you know why Mike Ashley turns up for the game and why Kroenke doesn't? Do you know why that happens? Because Kroenke, right, he's from America. That's who he cares about. He cares about his NFL and all this stuff. Whereas Mike Ashley, like, he's from this country, he's more local, and that's a club he owns, and that's why he can get there. But I find it baffling.
Well, David Tron, do you think Hayden was dropped to the bench as he spoke out against Bruce?
Nah, it's fatigue more than anything else, I think. If that's the way I'm looking at it.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, I heard that statement as well because he spoke against Bruce. But yeah, I think it's having a rest. I think he's played a lot of games since COVID, so that's what I'm thinking. So yeah,
well, Peter, what do you think? Because I think maybe there is a little bit in there. I definitely think fatigue is a thing as well because he's played a lot of games. But just the personality of Steve Bruce and the way he is with players and the way he tries to, piss the fans off in a way. I think he's sort of, I'll leave Hayden out tonight.
You feel like it could be something like that, but I think because he has played a lot of games there, Hayden, he has been grafting his bollocks off. Mm-hmm. That's probably why you were looking down to more fatigueness.
Hopefully. Right. I picked Jamal, our centre-back in Yedlin when I was on taxis, and Jamal couldn't talk or walk in 2018. I mean, I don't know about Jamal Lascelles as captain. We've said this numerous times that his communication skills are zero. I really didn't see him being a captain last night, quite frankly. I didn't see him bollock anybody. I didn't see him try and raise the troops. There was nothing. But you've seen that for such a long time.
I think he didn't care.
Mm.
I think it says a lot now when I'm not even like picking him as like the first player on the team sheet. It's always Hayden now. Do you know what I mean? Since Rafa's left, for me, his captaincy has just been thrown out the window. If I'm going to give anyone the captaincy, it would have either been Matt Ritchie or Hayden. But because Matt Ritchie's often injury prone, Hayden for me is number one captain.
Yeah, without a doubt. Totally agree with that. Lucien Favre.
Oh, he's just being sacked from Borussia Dortmund. I don't think he'd come to Newcastle. He'd want money. He's very similar to the rest.
Yeah, David Harrison. Good evening, Dave. I'd take a season where we are not fighting relegation all the time. It would be nice. I don't think that's going to come until the takeover happens, to be honest. I think we are in this mire as long as Mike Ashley owns the club.
He's playing Russian roulette with this takeover. That's what he's doing.
I know. But it's like you said, James, last week. You said, maybe he's in the mindset now of, well, if we do get relegated, I'll still make a profit. Maybe he's resigned.
Do you know what? It's not that. It's now. It's a possibility. Like it's stone wall. You can see like West Brom and Fulham. They're starting to dig out results.
Yeah. Blackpool fans didn't, or that Oyston. They boycotted a lot of games down at Blackpool.
But we're football mad though. Like we're a football mad city. Yeah. We can't do stuff like that. It's difficult.
Blackpool's not. I don't think it's very difficult to compare.
We live and breathe the football. It's a religion here. Like if we even miss a game, it's like, oh man.
It's exactly. Jody says the football was similar to Tony Pulis, but at least Tony had a plan. I remember Steve would throw the ball in the middle of training and say, "Let's play like we were under nines." It was crazy. That's the comment from Richie Delat or Jack Grealish, whoever it came from. I'll just read that again. The football was similar to Tony Pulis, but at least Tony had a plan. I remember Steve would throw the ball in the middle in training and say, "Let's play like we were under nines." It was crazy.
That's why I mentioned Mark Hughes and I mentioned how, yes, okay, he's being judged on what he's done in his career and what he did at Stoke and that in his last season. But
Yeah.
When I look at Mark Hughes, I just don't think he's like that. I think you will get a tune out with him. Do you know what I mean? If you look at short term anyway, then maybe give him another maybe extension of his contract. That would be up to a takeover. But what I'm saying is, in terms of where we are now, he can't be any worse than Steve Bruce. I would listen to Mark Hughes any day of the week over what we have.
It's all we can do, isn't it? Just think short term, because we don't know what's going to happen with the takeover. We have no choice but to look short term rather than long term, and that's a bit of a frustration as well, because we can't see into the future of what's going to happen at this club, because there's no progression.
Hope. That's it, man. We just want a bit of hope.
Exactly. NUFC 1892 says, just watched Derby County beat Bournemouth. Played some lovely football, basically with a bunch of teenagers who haven't been paid for weeks. Bruce needs to call Rooney for some advice. This is the difference, though, isn't it? It's what we were saying last week as well about the players actually wanting to go out on the pitch and play for the manager, John.
Yeah, I agree. All it is, I mean, if you go out and do your job, you do your job. But yeah, I have to agree with you. How do I put it? Yeah, just oh, that's the words now. I still forgot that Joelinton thing. Sorry. Nah.
He's having a mare. Poor bloke's having a mare.
You do know, John. Two yellows make a red.
Oh!
He's on thin ice. He's on real thin ice.
Even Biscuits in your call for some
I'm
advice.
sure you work for Steve Bruce. You know, honestly, I'm sure you do.
I know. You know, it's definitely something.
I'm only joking, mate. I'm only joking.
I'm just laughing. I'm sorry. No, you're right. I mean, all it is, if the players are really keen, they want to go out there and show what they can do and give it the best shot, and that's what they can ask for. Simple as that. But going to giving Rooney a call, I don't think Rooney would speak to him anyway. Just tell him to get lost. I would have done.
When you said give it a shot, that definitely sounds like Steve Bruce. We'll try. We'll have a crack.
Yeah.
No.
Is there anything else, John? Is there anything else you want to add to that, about something to do with the sleeves on your shirt?
No, I'm not. Hey, I've been good tonight. I've been really good tonight. I haven't mentioned that at all. I've been fantastic, and
but
he's just claiming that fame for the board, you know, aren't you? Just waiting for the board.
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. You haven't said those words. But you've still had a mare. Peter, what do you think about the difference for even the Derby teenagers fighting for Rooney compared to ours not fighting for Steve Bruce?
Oh,
is it plain obvious?
Well, yes, you can tell, can't it? These players want to play.
Yeah.
Us just don't want to play for this manager anymore.
Anon says, supposed training sessions under Bruce are like holiday camp, 3 days off a week, etc. Do you know what? Everything to do with Steve Bruce now is just boiling me up. Dodo Bird, good evening. I hope that's not your real name, but you know. Hi guys, things could have been so simple if Mike Ashley kept Rafa and a couple of half-decent signings. We wouldn't be in this terrible situation. Mike Ashley just makes a rod for his own back. You can't disagree with that, to be honest, because you know I think the major reason why Rafa left was undoubtedly the Joelinton situation. He didn't want him, but he was being, you know, things were going on over Rafa's head. And we've seen that before at the club when Keegan was here. You know, they brought in Dennis Wise to do all the business over Keegan's head. And it's just, nothing like that has ever changed. We'll go through the last few comments before we end, because we've nearly been on 2 hours tonight. So that's a bit of a long haul. Martin Ayre says we have the worst centre midfield in the Premier. Like Hayden, he likes Hayden. The rest are dog shit. I can't really, you know, I'm not going to argue with that. Apart from maybe Matty, but to be honest, Matty was going backwards a little bit yesterday as well. Paula Beck Games says personally, I really like Andy Carroll. You know,
is he the long term answer though? No,
he's not.
In that.
Thomas 321 says, I have notifications on for your player ratings, PD.
Yeah, that's out now, the player ratings.
They are out now. I've put all the guys' channel links in the description for this stream. So if you want to go and check all the guys out, all the channel listings are down there. So go and check them all out. Subscribe to everybody on here, because The three guys that are on with me have tremendous channels. Really good laugh. You'll see Peter ripping things up on screen. You see John losing the plot. Sharky somehow managing to stay calm sometimes, and then other times he loses it.
The only time where I actually stay calm, apart from the previous preview, is the previews, where I build up a game. That's it. And then all of a sudden, it just gets the game plan that I have is completely different to what Bruce has, and it just gets ripped to shreds.
It's completely different to anybody. It's funny when you watch all of our videos doing the previews to the games, like you say, James, we're all calm, a bit optimistic, and say, right, if we play like this, we'll get something. If we put this guy in here or this guy there, we'll do well. If we play two up top, this kind of thing, and we actually attack, and it comes to kick off, and everything we've said in our videos goes out the window straight away.
Paul, you know what, Paul? The thing is, I'm no manager, but we all, and I can probably speak for all of you lot. We know the basics. Like, we know what's going on. We know the problems. But give any of us just one team talk against Aston Villa, and I'm sure the performance would have changed. Yeah,
of course it would. Well, apart from John, who just tries to get 15 million quid for Joelinton. Liam says, get Roy Keane in, would not take any more shit. Well, I don't think Roy Keane would come and work under Mike Ashley for a start.
Not the way he was at Sunderland. No chance.
Yeah.
You made a comment about us in 2014 saying we were arrogant.
Yeah.
Newcastle fans are arrogant.
Yeah, you did. But then again, Steve Bruce probably said that when he was manager of Sunderland as well about us. You know, that's what he told the players. It was Mowbray that got Blackburn promoted.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Leeds are like us under Keegan in the 90s. Yes, we've said that. We've said that before, that Leeds are still a very good team to watch. If Leeds are on the TV, I'll watch them whether they get spanked or not. I just think the way they keep going, you know, even when they're sort of 3-0, 4-0 down, they keep going. And that's something that Newcastle United just don't do.
Can I just mention something about Leeds very quickly?
Yeah,
we've got to be 5-2, right? What's the odds, right, that the score is going to be doubled, right? And I'm not saying Newcastle are going to score 4 goals, but imagine if it was something like 10-4 to Leeds. With the amount of goals they scored, just double the scoreline. Could happen.
Sharky, that means us scoring 4 goals. Where the hell are you getting that from?
It's not that, though. We still lost the game, though. Imagine the goal difference. He still loses his job. Honestly, I'll be honest, I just don't know where the wins are coming from. I really don't.
Yeah. Alan Thompson says, I thought no spectators were allowed in the ground, so why was Joelinton allowed in?
Joelinton, that's what he's called.
Michael Nixon, I'm curious, lads, what would be your strongest 11, including players out on loan? Enjoying your contact, lads. Keep it up. Thanks very much, Michael. I'm going to do something with you guys probably maybe next week or the week after. We're going to go through and maybe do like a strongest 11 ever in the Premier League, Newcastle. So not before the Premier League, just talking about the Premier League and trying to get your guys' best 11s that we've ever had in the Premier League. So that'd be something good for us to do.
All you got to do is get Keegan's side from the 95-96 season. There you go, so done.
Well, that's James's done. No doubt, John, you'll include Joelinton in your lineup. I have no doubt. I'm never letting you forget that, mate. I'm never.
Where are you going to play him? Are you going to play him at centre back? Because he's not quick enough. He can't run.
I tell you what, no, I'll put left back in the dressing room, so that's all.
Hey, I'll tell you what, John. Absolutely quality viewing from you tonight. Absolute quality. David says, Joelinton, we get 45 million. Please tell me, David, that you are joking there. Please tell me that is a joke, because if you think nothing. We get 45 million for Joelinton, you're on a further away planet than John Sinclair is.
I'd let him go for free. I'd let him go to any club that he wants to on a free. That's it.
Oh, without a doubt. Geordie says players' contracts are running down and don't have a clue if they're wanted or not by the club. If that's not demoralising enough, they got Steve Bruce blaming them for the ineptness. Totally right. None of the players know if they're coming or going, and that's got to cause issues at the club. Last few, Alan Thompson, I had heard Dunstan Fed were offered him and they knocked him back. That wouldn't surprise me. John, you'll know more about that. John, did you offer him to Dunstan?
John, what were you thinking? Dunstan?
I sent them to like butchers. That's what I sent them to. Send them to like butchers. I didn't know.
Even Blythe and Gateshead knocked them back. Even Blythe at the bottom of the league knocked them back.
Yeah.
I tell you what, John. You've got a busy few weeks before the end of the window if you want to get your commission for him.
Oh dear.
Oh, man.
Thomas 321 PD. I am watching your live stream. I think you've got a fan there, Peter.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor. It was 2 false 10s.
I want to know what I just want to know what 1 false 10 is first before we know about 2s and 3s and 5s. Honestly, false 10s.
Alan Thompson, he did take the blame, Sharky, against Sheffield because he suddenly realised his team played in black and white instead of red and white. Sam Johnson, Bruce is a disgrace. We are worse than Fulham and we will go down. Undoubted.
That's what they're relying on.
Well, yeah. YouTube Epic says, True Geordie started off ranting about football. Look where he is now. Hope you guys all the best. Onwards and upwards. Thanks very much, mate. That's
very much.
To be honest,
do you know what though? Can I just say something? I don't want to rant and rave on YouTube. I just want to make videos and enjoy connecting with the fans and just seeing good performances. It's not about like gaining subscribers because of like rant and rave. And I just want to build a community and just get talking to people like you guys and just have a nice week for a change, not just rant every single week.
The thing is, I mean, yes, I get angry when I do my reviews, but that's because I'm angry about the game.
By the way, Paul, justified.
Yeah. But we still talk, all of us have had rants, but we still talk sense about football. It's not just about screaming at the camera about willy-nilly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, things that don't happen on the pitch. We talk about things that are happening on the pitch. And if we're annoyed about it, that's what I mean by we'll show our heart on our sleeve, because we will. And whether that means shouting at a camera because we want to vent our frustration at something because we're not in the ground to do it. So there's got to be somewhere that we can vent our frustration, but also talking properly about the football that we're watching. So we're not just screaming for willy-nilly reason. We've actually got reason behind it. But True Geordie was, I don't know. When I first started on YouTube a few years ago, he helped me out a little bit and then he suddenly disappeared and went into a different world. But that's by the by. We all have our own channels and we all try and make them.
It's because the board don't communicate with the fans, and the fans just like want to hear what other fans have to say. And I think it's good. I think a lot more people have come to YouTube, and do you know what? It's great. Even people like John, you're new to the scene as well. It's great. More fans are better.
Yeah,
more
exactly.
And yourself.
Well, I obviously got to know you, James, and you, Peter, through YouTube, through watching your videos.
You should have kept your channel, by the way, like your free for whatever you had.
Well, I know I should, but at the time, I'd just been diagnosed with my illness and things weren't going great for me. And then the trolls started on me, and I wasn't. At the time, I didn't handle it very well because I had other things going on.
You're doing well now, though. You're flying through those subscribers. You'll be ahead of me shortly.
Well, you know what it is. I just, like you say, James, it's about people wanting to watch you and talking sense and making people laugh, having a good laugh on here. Like
absolutely.
That's why I brought John on as the comedian between the four of us. It's just, and we've all got to know each other through YouTube, and then when everyone can get out again and get the matches, we can all meet up face to face for a pint and talk about football and stuff like that. Go to some non-league games together, which I'd like to do.
I'm that connected with the club. I even go to the under-23s as well when I can.
But that's things that I'd like to do. But now I've got to know you guys, and we can sort of go to these games together and have a good laugh. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, But so yeah, it's not all about just screaming down a camera. Jason says, "Roll them sleeves up, dust yourselves down, and we go again next week, lads."
Oh God!
What? And then it'll be. Oh, we've got people we tried.
Well.
What's the previous coming out of the poll? There was the one of Liam said, asking John, "Was it your idea to tell Charlie to get Bruce?"
Oh, yeah, I can see it now.
Oh, John, please tell me your line here.
John, was it your idea to tell Charlie to get Bruce?
I tell you what, though, if it was, I'd get absolutely shot.
Do you know what annoys me about Charlie, though, right? What annoys me about Charlie? I'm sure Charlie worked, like, lower down in the club, and he actually is a supporter as well. And for them to be so silent on the fans is disgraceful.
Yeah. I think the power's gone to his head, undoubtedly. But, John, people are starting to work you out, mate. Secret agent here.
Oh, John. Ooh.
That comment there from Jason, that's maybe what we should get John to say at the end of each show each week.
Yeah.
Roll them sleeves up, dust yourselves down. We go again next week.
You thought you called me out at the start. No, I'm just quoting Steve Bruce. I'm allowed to quote.
That's true. YouTube Epic says it's a good mix. I mean, rant and good chats. Yeah, no, nice one. Exactly, that's what it's all about. David says again, we will get 45 million for Joelinton. Any relation to him, John?
Secret agent David.
Secret agent.
Is he your advisor to the board?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
David's a legend.
YouTube says, do a bundle deal, Joelinton, ASM and Miggy, 100 million East sale. There you go, John. That's one for you. Easy Sale says, right, last couple of comments, guys, and then we'll end it. The world is watching. What would happen if the fans were in the ground? Well, it'd be toxic, simple as that.
You won't be in a job, put it that way.
No.
Not to mention, I wouldn't be surprised if fans turned up with cabbages as well.
Exactly, yeah. I think they'd all call it.
No. I'm mentioning your stream fruit. It'll be this fruit pastels. It'll be cabbage flavour.
John, there's another one for you. How much would we have got for Riviere if he was still here?
100 million for you, would it?
Mr. Dill, sta contento, isn't it? Contenta to Cotone or the three. So,
or even Cisco. There you go. I think John could have made a cool 100 million between the three of them, couldn't he?
Cisco and the disco, you'd definitely get a few pints for him.
I tell you what, not Cisco, I would have gone to a disco.
Disco the disco, yeah.
I'm starting to think that John's mate David here is a bit of a Sunderland fan. Bruce is so quality.
Woo!
Yeah, so maybe he isn't one of your secret agent squad. I think he's a Mackham. Jason says, be able to buy your veg each match day at St James's Park when the fans go back. Yeah, there'll be people selling cabbages outside the ground, won't they? Because they know they're making an absolute fortune.
No, not Mitro. No, I didn't want. No, I'm glad he left.
Yeah, I mean, Mitro, he was on and off. And Ryan says, work in progress, lads. Do you know what? Are these just all comments for John to say at the end of the show that you're throwing at us here? You know what I mean? Right, that's it for this week, lads. Thank you very much for coming on again. We will be back next Monday night at 8 o'clock because obviously we play on Saturday. So we'll see if we're in a better mood than after the Arsenal performance, but we will see. So thank you, John, for coming on. Appreciate it, mate. Take care. Peter, thank you very much, buddy.
Catch you very much as well.
And James, thank you very much, bud. See you later on the week.
Cheers, mate. Watch what you're doing. See you later.
So, guys, that was the Four Horsemen of the Toon show, which will be back on its normal night next week, Monday night at 8 o'clock. Thank you very much for everybody for tuning in. I really, really do appreciate it. If you've liked the show or you're watching it on a rerun, then please do hit the like button, do hit the subscription button. My subscriptions are going up really, really quickly, and it's all down to you guys for wanting to watch all the stuff that this channel is putting out. So I really, really do appreciate that. Again, thank you very much for joining. Do look out for the preview of the Aston Villa game, and I'll also have my Thursday night live, and I've hopefully got Sav on with me on Thursday night. So do join us for that. In the meantime, stay safe wherever you are. Please do take care. Good night. Be strong.